Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you're watching in the world, welcome along to the One Hub Racing charity event here, raising money for the Mental Health Foundation. A 100% race with full qualifying included around the Hockenheim Ring here. 67 laps for the for raising money for the Mental Health Foundation. And of course, with the German Grand Prix on the horizon, it could not be anyone else in the commentary box joining me for this one other than the lovely Mr. Austin Smith. Austin, great to have you along at your home track, and this is basically your back garden now. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Kieran. Thank you very much to you, to One Hub, who've been organising this, for having me, obviously. And I'm very excited. I wouldn't call it my backyard because from where I live, Hockenheim Ring's obviously, or not obviously, but it is quite a long distance away. It's like if you lived in London and you called Silverstone your backyard. It's a little bit far away for that. But nonetheless, it is a track I very well know because obviously I've been there and always loved watching the races, even back on the old Hockenheim Ring, the old 6-7 kilometer, whatever long it was, through the forest. Obviously, that's no longer the track. They've shortened it to just over 4.5 kilometers. But it is still a fascinating track, a fun track to drive, and especially for these 20... can we really call them competitors? Because as much as they obviously want to win, but it is a charity race, it is for a good cause, for the Mental Health Foundation. You know, competitor sounds a bit weird.
It does, and to be honest with you, Austin, I love commentating with you again because you've got a spreadsheet, you know, all the history, you know, everything about it. So, yeah, I mean, we've got commentators, we've got admin, we've got current racers, we've got past racers as well, so a real mixed bag about who is going to be really on top of this one, but many great names. And if you had to pick someone right now, Austin, who would you go for to be the successful one here tonight?
Oh, that is such a difficult question, I have to say. I think the first ones we can exclude, and thankfully both of us are commentators as well. All the commentators. Oh, they're gonna hate me for that, but no. I would say the same thing about myself if I was competing. Obviously, I would not stand a single chance. Although I have to say, Owen might be one to watch out for. He's been very successful in league racing before, so he might be one to watch out for, but obviously you have to go for the drivers who are running in the Pinnacle tier. Guys like Westy, the reigning Pinnacle tier champion, by the way. So that's certainly one to look out for. Ash Best had 2 really good results in the Pinnacle tier in the last 2 races in Singapore and in Austria. Both times a 6th place, which in the top tier of One Hub is a really, really good result. And then, maybe White Fountain, the dominator of last season's Precision tier, can find back to his old form. And if we look at the... maybe someone from the podium tier can surprise us. Someone like Jonas, who's right now on provisional pole with no time set yet. He's the only one this season out of this grid to score at least 1 podium, and he's had 3. So he knows what success feels like. Now the question is, can he have this success and continue his success against, obviously, again, competition sounds a bit weird, but competition that is quite a lot different with some Pinnacle and Precision tier drivers.
Absolutely, and you'll quickly start to notice in the top left hand of your screen, you'll see the Q1 logo. And full qualifying, Austin. The session's going through now. Then we've got a full race on our hands. And the best part of it all is that we've got full control of the weather, which now all 20 drivers are in. They've now seen what sort of challenge awaits them. And I think we've got this right cool. So at the moment for qualifying, it is going to be clear, so we should see some good dry running here. For Q2, it's going to be overcast, so we should expect the track temperature to drop slightly, but the important thing is the top 10 there are going to be very wary about what sort of tyres they're going to be picking there. Q3 is going to be light rain, so expect intermediate tyres for that third qualifying session to see who can get on pole position in those tricky conditions. For the race then, we do have...
Hold on. We don't have to mention everything.
Okay.
We can keep the viewers in a little bit of, a cloud, a little bit of, a little bit of
a
not
cloud.
Knowing.
Really? Yeah.
I was trying to use a little bit of a metaphor, and I think that one worked very well. Until you called me out on it.
Well, there we go.
But yeah, obviously this is all for a good cause, as mentioned multiple times before, for the Mental Health Foundation. If you want to donate, I'm going to try to put the link in the chat if I can. Just give me 1 second to pull it up. There we go. It's in the chat. I don't think I can do that. I think I'm on the wrong... I have to log into the OneHub account to do that, I think, because that does not show the link. So we're going to... Give me 1 second. We're going to have some technical issues. Yeah, it did not send. There we go.
Not from you, Austin.
There we go. Okay, the link is in the chat now. It works. We are currently sitting, let me refresh it, at £225 already.
That's incredible.
That is absolutely fantastic, yeah. And if you want to know more about the Mental Health Organization, Mental Health Foundation, go to mentalhealth.org.uk or on Twitter. And I have to say, I mean, you can't make it easier than that. It's at Mental Health.
There you go. And of course, it's a very good foundation here. Of course, most of us are at home or working under these bizarre circumstances, and there's circumstances that we don't normally, we wouldn't normally associate probably in our lifetime, or hopefully ever again. And it's always nice to know that there are foundations out there. There are ways to get the help if you need it, certainly with your mental health, because it can be a trying time for everybody here. So it's one of those events we like to raise awareness and raise the money for a really good foundation, a really good cause as well, to help you in those difficult times. And what you'll notice as well, Austin, is that we've got the multiplayer cars here, which means everybody's allowed to express themselves in their own sort of way, in their own style here. I mean, I'm riding on board with Gazzaman. He's gone for a blue and red decal here as he makes his way through, with a little bit of white as well on the very side of the car. He makes his way now around the final corner and onwards towards the start-finish line to start his flying lap. And of course here, Austin, the bottom 5 at the end of this qualifying session will be eliminated from the qualifying session, will not take any further part in Q2. And in equal cars, that's even more pressure on these drivers.
It really is. And you mentioned Gazzaman's livery. I have to say, reminds me a lot of Toro Rosso this year, or last year rather, 2019. The color combination and just generally where you see, sort of the red shining through, really reminds me a lot. But I don't know what he went for. What I know Jess went for. Unfortunately, she's in the pits right now, so we can't really talk about that, can we? That's very unfortunate. But you see some drivers, going for at least some purple touch. If we look at Nick's car right now, it does have just a smidge of purple. It's mostly black and white, reminiscent a lot of the AlphaTauri that was supposed to race this year. Obviously, that hasn't happened so far. But also a touch of purple, and I think that is for OneHub, considering that obviously Nick is the head of OneHub, the administrator, everything, yeah, he's keeping this one running, and for him, amazingly, first time on this game that he's really racing. I mean, last time he was league racing was OneHub Season 13, and that was on the old game on F1 2018. So he hasn't been competing in Season 14, hasn't been competing in Season 15 so far, and probably won't. But he's here for the charity event, for the race and qualifying, and so far looking pretty good at in P5, 112.3. That is, I can barely read Owen's time, but that's just under a second behind Owen, who, as I mentioned before, He's one to watch out for.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Liam here, and I think that's an orange and black livery. Of course, Liam is a Dundee United fan, I do believe. So giving off those vibes and those colours right now, and it's a great way to express all of your interests there. And I say orange and black is a great colour combination. It's one of my favourites as well. 1:14.0 set there from Liam gets him just inside the top 10 there. And what's important, of course, is you've got to be in that top 15. We're still expecting lap times from Ash Best, Vaporon, Hamilton, Shapalele and Sam, who are all out on track at this moment in time. Only a handful of drivers in the pits.
I have to say, orange and black reminds me a little bit of a crossover between Arrows and Minardi. And that's not good. For those who remember the early 2000s in Formula 1, that's not a good thing. Both cars were notorious backmarkers. In fact, you could make the argument that it's just Arrows, because Arrows had a lot of black as well when they were sponsored by the company Orange. And so, you know, kind of goes with that theme.
Yeah, I mean,
let's hope it's a little bit faster than that.
Let's hope it's a little bit faster. And of course, the Orange Arrows in 2001 obviously didn't really have a good enough fuel tank. I do remember that, as it was the fuel tank was just too small, so it couldn't do those extended stints in those days, which were, you know, the quickest way around. So it kept having to come into the pits for fuel. Didn't finish a couple of races because it was running out of fuel. So it wasn't a great season in 2001. Let's hope Liam's night goes a little bit better than that. In fact, a lot better than that. Let's hope he actually does finish. And obviously, we've got the race coming up. We will tell you the forecast in due course. But right now, we're basking in this sunshine. All I'll say is, especially for the rest of the qualifying session, just be admiring this sunshine right now.
Yes, indeed. We're not going to see a lot. You mentioned Q2, Q3 already. We're not going to see a lot of sunshine in Q2 and Q3. And well, for the race, yeah. I think we can already say there's going to be some, but yeah, I think it will remain with some.
Yes, I think so. Hamilton, meanwhile, goes up to 11th place. He's in a pink and black car for tonight's proceedings as he heads towards Zach's curve. Now, I was talking to Austin, because obviously it's his home track, as Sam now goes top then. 1:11.3 is his first lap time in this qualifying session in Q1 anyway. I was speaking to Austin about the pronunciation of corners of this track, and well, Austin said it was Zach's curve, so that's what I'm going to call it for tonight. So yeah, there you go. It's great having a German, what they say in another language, it's like telephone or something like that.
What?
Yeah, there's
what are you on
phone.
about now?
It's something phone if you can speak the language, but we just say German speaker. It's very weird.
German native speaker, yeah.
Yeah, but it's always nice to have a German native speaker at the German Grand Prix here at Hockenheimring, and yeah, able to actually get the right pronunciations, because if there's one thing I hate as a commentator, it is getting the wrong pronunciation. It's my pet hate.
See, you got double lucky. Not only am I a German native speaker, I'm also obsessed with pronunciations.
It's a match made in heaven, isn't it?
Yes. No, but, the thing is, I mean, I wanted to say I speak 3 languages, but I've been a bit rusty in French. Haven't spoken it in a very long time, and probably would struggle at this point. But just generally, if it comes to pronunciations of like any language, really, it doesn't matter if it's, you know, a more spoken language like German or French, or let's say a more prevalent language, maybe not more spoken but more prevalent language, especially in the world of sports and racing in particular, like German, English, I mean English is the easy one here, French, Italian, Spanish, or if it's something like, I mean, we have Hungary on the calendar, for example. What other? I mean, Singapore is the one I would struggle with, but thankfully they speak English for the most part. I mean, they call it Singlish because it's half Singaporean, half English. But yeah, it is certainly interesting. Japanese, Chinese, obviously all tracks that are on the F1 calendar, and I'm just fascinated by different languages and their pronunciations.
Absolutely. Well, West is now retired from Q1. He feels he's done enough to get himself through. 1:11.5. That, considering 15th place right now is a 14.0, I think he can count himself safe for now, but anything can happen, obviously. As you can see Etheridge there getting that back end really, really loose coming out of the hairpin there. And that's Luke in the chat there saying, you guys ever seen anyone race him in Q1? I can't say that I have, but I'm seeing it right now, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that seems like that's the case. I mean, a bit late for practice, you know. Q1 when you're trying to get out of the bottom 5, but hey, you do you. And maybe I don't know if Luke's about to start a YouTube channel and going for some kind of last to first challenge. Yeah, I think he just went for a pit wall challenge there.
Yes, he definitely did. Yeah, way too hot coming into pit lane, but he's hit the wall there. But 3 minutes and 24 seconds to go. Obviously, it's quite a short lap here at the Hockenheim ring, so you do have time on your side if you come into the pits there, as White Fountain just goes up to P6, set a purple sector 3 there. Did White Fountain, and it's enough for P6 right now, 111.8. You've got Sam there with a 111.3, who's now retired from the session, so he thinks he's safe enough. Drivers really on the bubble here. I would say Jess, Liam, Luke Etheridge, Asahina, and Jamie there. We haven't actually said much about Jamie. He was a very, very, very last-minute call-up. If Etheridge was a late call-up, Jamie Met was a very, very late call-up. He's just gone purple through Sector 2 as he makes his way through now on towards Zach's curve. And you can see there, it just banks towards the apex of the corner there. It's just slightly missed that apex as he makes his way through the chicane and then on towards Sud Curve, the final 2 corners. Can he try and keep it nice and tidy? Onwards now towards that start-finish line. Where can this lap time put him? Currently a 15.8. It's a 13.0. That's enough for 6th place. I don't think that's going to be enough. In fact, he's still in the drop zone.
Yeah, you said 6th place, 16th.
Oh, did I? 16th, yes.
Yeah, it sounded like it was just, you thought you said 16th, but yeah, it's 16th place, really close. 4/10, not even 4/10 away, and he has another shot at this if he just uses this one here as a cooldown lap. He does have one more shot at getting into the top 15. He is ahead of Liam, who I would also look at as one of the drivers who might actually find themselves inside the top 15. Hamilton really on the bubble right now. He needs to find some time. He's on his outlap in his pink and black car. Dexter just left the pit lane. That will be in time. Oh, that, I have to say, Dexter has a fantastic livery there. That color combination, that's one I really like. You talked about the black and orange. I like. Can we call it? Is that teal? Black and teal? I think that's a good description. I really like that. As Liam retires, so he is definitely out of Q1 now.
Yeah. Jess is out there on a flying lap then, going through the hairpin, but she's 4/10 down, going through Sector 1, considering she's in the drop zone right now. Jamie Met retires from the session as well, and that means he is eliminated from qualifying. And Hamilton here is really on the edge of his seat there. Asahina cuts turn 1, and you can see there, so frustrated with himself there, and that is him out of Q1. He won't be able to set another lap time, considering he's got no front wing left, basically. Reduced damage, and he's still taken both end plates off that front wing. So really, Etheridge, this is his chance to try and get himself into Q2. But to be honest with you, if he makes it to the line. Yeah, if he makes it to the line, he's only got 20 seconds to get there. So let's see if he can make it. It's going to be very, very tight here for Etheridge.
Yeah. Asahina, meanwhile, retires. Jess makes it across the line to maybe... No, she does not try another lap. She's now in no ERS. Let's look at Luke.
He's going to make it.
Through the final quarter. 3, 2, 1... did he make... He made it!
He made it!
Just about! That is remarkable! That is absolutely incredible! It was less than a second remaining when he crossed the line. It must have been 0 point something. But he made it across the line, and the target time now is a 1:12.652. That is Dexter's time. Can he improve on that? He needs to find 2 seconds. He runs wide in the hairpin, and at this point, I mean, he's still trying, but Oh, that really did not look good. To the Mercedes arena he goes now. Let's see, second sector split should come after this section right here. After turn 11, this right-hander. And where is his time? A 10th down on his own time, so he needs to find 2 seconds in this final sector, and I doubt that. In fact, more, because Dexter improved to a 112.3, so Scorpion now the one on the bubble, but I think he is safe, and we will actually have 3 of the 4 commentators running here today. Already out in Q1, Jamie in P16, Jess in P18, and Luke Etheridge in P19.
Yeah, and because they've all finished now, that means Gazzaman, who was on a lap, probably is going to... Oh, he's going to finish it, get to the checkered flag, as he now makes his way towards the start-finish line. So, that is Q1 over and done with, and in that session, we have eliminated Jamie Met, Liam, Jess, Luke Etheridge, and Asahina, who will not take any part in Q2. Fastest lap time was Ash Best there at 1:11.1, and Q2 is going to be quite interesting because now wherever you start on the top 10, that could be your starting tyre for the race. So it's going to be a very crucial session. Do you risk it and try and go on a set of softs and think you're quick enough? A set of mediums and think you're quick enough? Or do you go for the soft tyres and just not risk it? So that is Ash Best's fastest time in Q1. And just to reiterate again, the bottom 5 that we have lost: Jamie Met, Liam, Jess, Luke Etheridge and Asahina there. 13.0 from Jamie Met was his best effort there. And as we saw, Asahina just cut at turn 1. And you could see how frustrated he was. He weaved the car left and right and was just absolutely beside himself there.
Yeah, really, really unlucky for him, and ultimately P20. But for the other 15, I'm going to tell you right now that the difference between the soft and the medium, if they're both fresh, which obviously in qualifying they are, is just over a second. So if I'm looking at this, if I'm looking at the first session and the times in the first session, as we have really, really overcast conditions, as mentioned, I'm looking at that and I'm looking at the gaps and I'm thinking, you know what, if I'm in the top 2, 3, 4, I'll take the risk, go on to the mediums, set a banker lap, and then, if necessary, you can still go out on the hards. On the mediums for the end of the... on the soft. My goodness. I'm all over the place right now.
Don't worry, I am too.
Yeah. You can still go out on the softs. Just set a banker lap on the mediums. Look at this. Most drivers do. We have Sam, Gazzaman, Westy, Shepalele, Hamilton, Scorpion, White Fountain, Vaporeon, and Esh, all on the mediums, and only 6 drivers on the softs, with only 2 of them, Owen and Jonas, having left the pit lane on those softs. The rest may still be switching. Oh no, there you go. Cam and Lukey also leaving the pit lane now on those softs, as well as... Dexter and Nick are still in.
So at the moment then, as you can see, these drivers, most of on the medium tyres, as Austin said, probably there to just get the banker lap in then. So we're down now to 15 drivers, and what might be so bizarre is that, especially for the current One Hub Racing drivers, they'll get to a point where there might only just be 10 of them on the track. They won't know what to do with all that space.
I think they know very well what to do with that space. Generally, from my experience, as I've talked about quite a few times before here in One Hub and on other streams as well, I used to be a league racer long time ago, but I've been in that situation, and generally when you have just 10 cars on the track qualifying, it's more of a case. It's less of a case of, oh, I don't know what to do with that space, and more of a case of, okay, I just want to make sure, A, no one's in front of me to potentially hold me up, and B, no one's behind me to potentially capitalize off of my slipstream. Those are really the 2 things. But usually with 10 cars, you have so much space that usually doesn't happen, because also the other drivers tend to stay away from you, and from everyone else as well. Because again, you may have the opportunity to capitalize off of someone's slipstream, but at the same time you also suffer from their dirty air, and if they're slower than you, they'll hold you back. So you don't want that. You want your own running, especially in F1. In other series that might be different, on other games that might be different, but here in F1 you want your own running, and Jonas shows what's going on. 111.4 on the softs, however, it needs to be mentioned. It is a really good lap time, but it is a lap time on the softs.
Yeah, I think so as well. Remember that it is overcast conditions, so there is a risk that, you know, the weather conditions play a part in this one, because the track temperature is cooler in theory than it was in Q1. So maybe the tyres might not be at optimum performance, so the drivers have got to bear that in mind. But if they make it into the top 10 and it's a dry start for the race, then they're locked in on that tyre. The ones who are eliminated get a free range of dry tyre if it is a dry start. Of course, that's all out of the window, Austin, if we get to the race start and it's pouring down with rain.
Yeah, that could very well happen. However, we're not going to disclose yet what's going to happen at the start of the race. The drivers might or might not know. I think they do have the opportunity to look at the weather forecast for the race, but whether they were smart enough, clever enough to actually do so, or maybe they forgot about it, we'll see. But I think you get a little bit of an indication here from seeing now 10 of the 15 runners on the mediums, what kind of conditions we do get at the start of the race. Because they wouldn't have to care about tyre if it was a wet start. If it was either light or heavy rain, they wouldn't have to care about the compound they choose here, and they could just go all out on the softs. But since they do choose the mediums in quite significant numbers, I think it's no secret anymore that the race start is going to be dry.
And that's a huge thing, isn't it? Because now you've got a chance to get onto the tyre you want. We can say that it is a dry start, so that's why we're seeing this. But lots of drivers on the medium tyre to begin with, more than I was thinking actually. Maybe just to put the banker lap down, but it's going to be interesting to see how many drivers commit to that medium tyre run, or will they eventually go onto a soft tyre run?
Yeah, that is going to be the question. What I find even more surprising is that of all the runners so far, of the 4 soft runners, 3 are either on the bubble with Owen in 10th or outside the top 10 with Cam and Nick. So that is very surprising. Usually you would expect to see the soft runners towards the top where Jonas is, but he's the only one up there. Then it's all medium runners all the way down to P9 to Scorpion, and I would assume they all made mistakes on their laps, because there is really no other explanation, because they've all done better laps in Q1.
I wonder if that's a little bit of sandbagging. I wonder if they've backed out of that soft tyre run so that they know and can commit to a faster medium tyre towards the end of the qualifying session. I wonder if they want to try and get a medium tyre run and finish in the top 10. That could be something they're going for here. But back in the days when 3-stage qualifying was first introduced, it was whatever tyre you qualified on in Q3, that's the tyre you started on. And only a couple of years ago, actually, did they change the rules so that it was whatever tyre you qualified on in Q2 and then made it to Q3, so that it encouraged drivers to then go for the fastest lap possible in Q3. And at the time, I thought, that's genius. Why didn't I think of that?
Well, if you did, you would have been paid by F1 quite a fortune. But instead, you're stuck with me here now.
Hey, that is my fortune. Aww.
Aww.
Anyway.
Meanwhile, let's not forget that this is a charity event, and we are raising money for the Mental Health Foundation. If you want to support them, the link is... Oh, hold on. Give me 1 second, because I have to effectively do double duty here. I'm really a triple duty almost. I mean, I have to commentate. I'm also running the Twitter account for today, the One Up Racing Twitter account. during this stream, and I have to post the link in the chat where it is now at this very moment. I actually was able to post it. I almost posted the whole tweet template. Thankfully, did not do that into the YouTube chat. That would have been interesting. But yeah, if you want to support the Mental Health Foundation, please do so. Also, I think it's important to note that there is a raffle for everyone who donates going on. So if you donate at least £1, you will be entered into 3 raffles. 1 for a One Hub Racing cap, 2 for a Scuderia Ferrari t-shirt, and 3 for a copy of F1 2020 whenever it comes out on any platform. You can only be entered into the raffle once. I think that very much needs to be said, so please don't donate £1 over and over and over and over again. Just donate whatever you want, and you will get entered, but only once, even if you donate multiple times. But yeah, that's for everyone who has donated so far. We've had 20 supporters, £225.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing there so far. So far, so good. And of course, we've seen so many successful charity events here already. I remember the last one we ran where somehow the guys there managed to trigger a safety car when there was damage off. I don't understand how that's even possible. I just saw Nick there going through turn 1 about a lap ago. I think he's actually had a spin because he lost a chunk of front wing there. He said in the chat that he was going to be struggling with turn 1 all the way through this race and all this way through this qualifying session. It's only taken him to Q2 to really get it massively wrong, and in any case he has another chance. Obviously with the front wing you can change it almost instantly now in the pit lane. He'll just be trying to get the tyres on and oh hello, what's going on here? Is there rain falling?
There is rain falling at the end of Q2, 5 minutes left, and the first raindrops are hitting the track already. My goodness, that was quick. Did not expect it to happen this early. This might actually freeze the grid for the last, as Cam actually retires from the session. Yeah, I think this pretty much freezes the grid. So, speaking of Nick having another chance at improving his time, pretty much that's gone out the window, and we have effectively, I doubt someone's going to be able to improve. I mean, Scorpion's coming around the final corner. Maybe he can. He's 11th right now, so an improvement into P7 on the soft does see him through to Q3 most likely at this point. And Lukey is now dropped to P11, and he has invalidated his previous lap. However, he's going for another one here with slight rain coming down, with few drops. It's not much. No. That's the thing, it's not much, so you might still be able to get in a good time. However, Lukey is on the medium tyre right now. They're 3 laps old, going into their 4th lap. And, yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what he can do. But he has to, I mean, he only has to improve by a 10th to beat out SOR Hamilton here. But this could be really interesting. I'm surprised that both Owen and Hamilton are in the pits, and they're not trying to at least set a time before time completely runs out, before the rain gets a little bit heavier.
Yeah, absolutely. Lukey here, meanwhile, is trying to get his way on towards another flying lap. He runs wide there, and that's an invalidation. Another invalidation there for Lukey as he makes his way now through. And I think now he'll realise that there isn't a lot he can do about that one. I mean, he will try again, but is it worth all that effort when he gets into the top 10 and he finds out he's on these tyres to start the race? He might think otherwise. Yeah, there he goes into the pit lane, and I think that could be Lukey's qualifying session over and done with. But yeah, it is very, very light rain, and such light rain we didn't even expect at Austin, and we set the weather.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, at this point, the DRS is still enabled, so the drivers are still allowed to use the DRS. As Vaporeon now retires, I think he feels safe in P6. Sam retires, he's in P8. I wouldn't feel that safe, but then again, with the weather, yeah, possibly. Westy, he's in P4, he's definitely safe. I would be surprised if we see more than 10 drives into the 111s. But I'm looking at Nick right now. He's on the mediums, and he might have left it too late there. Trying to go through the final 2 corners onto the start-finish straight. 1:11, 1:12. The clock is ticking more and more. That's not an improvement. 14.8. Worse than his soft time, but it doesn't matter too much because obviously he's not in the top 10 right now, so he is not tied to whatever tire he qualified here in P2 as he retires from this session, and everyone's in the pits. So I think we're not going to see that much in the final 2 minutes of this qualifying. No one out on track apart from Nick's car that has just retired. So yeah, time to look at the pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're not expecting anybody out now for the last minute and 30 seconds. And this sort of reminds me of a scenario with Jono at one of my first seasons in One Hub Racing. We had 2 or 3 races where this happened, where in qualifying towards the end it started to rain. And we just got a nice view of the pit lane as we had 90 seconds to talk to ourselves about the upcoming event. But what this does mean then is if no one's going out, and we're getting to that threshold now where people need to start leaving the pit lane in order to actually set a lap time on the track, we can now tell you that the 5 that are eliminated from Q2 are Lukey, Cam, Gaza, Dexter and Nick. So those will be your 5 dropouts there for Q2. That means then Albrecht, Chapelele, Ashbest, Westy, White Fountain, Vaporeon, Scorpion, Sam, Owen and Hamilton have made it into Q3. And if the rain keeps going, Austin, could be looking at those intermediates.
Yeah, meanwhile, we have to talk about the tyres as well. So Jonas and Scorpion, P1 and P7, have to start on the softs, with everyone else from Chapelele in P2 to Vaporeon in P6, and then from Sam in P8 to Hamilton in P10, have to start on those used mediums.
Yeah, and that's going to be important as well. And if they're looking at the weather forecast later on in the race, maybe they're thinking about that. Obviously, we'll find out how that's all going to play out. But yeah, at least with the 5 that have been eliminated, they get a free choice. Whatever tyre they want to start on, they can start on. With everybody in the pits, we won't have a checkered flag sequence. We'll just go straight to the results. It's a very, very fine rain, but you can see the track got damp quickly. And as we now make our way to the results here of Q2, you can see Albrecht fastest lap time with a 1:11.4, and the 4 drivers eliminated: Lukey, Cam, Gazaman, Dex and Nick, all eliminated from Q2. So that now gives us a top 10 showdown, a top 10 shootout for that pole position. And this rain, Austin, looks like it's here to stay.
Pretty much, we are going to see intermediate action here as 2 Germans at the German Grand Prix. And I have to say, I mean, I love to see that. Top the timing charts at the end of Q2. Let's see if they can keep that up in the 3rd qualifying session. Obviously with very, very different conditions. As we are just about to see, the rain is now... Well, it's still black. There we go. The rain is now coming down quite significantly, and all drivers are standard on the intermediate tyres, so they haven't switched that themselves. The game has switched that for them, so the intermediates are now the better tyre as the raindrops are coming down here at Hockenheim.
Absolutely, and we have 12 minutes now in this session, and you can hear all the engines firing up. The difference between dry and wet qualifying is that the drivers here have a set of intermediates just set aside for qualifying. Once this qualifying session is over, these intermediates are taken away. They're never used again. So the strategy here for all of these drivers will be just go out there on a set of intermediates and set as many lap times as possible. Because the more times you set on the intermediates, the more you get used to the track. You can actually sort of get some water off the racing line as well and help yourselves out. As you can see, every single driver out there in a queue ready to go through and try and get some lap times on the board just to get some water off the track as well. And the thing is, if the rain stays like this, the track will improve, and that's the main thing. If all 10 drivers are out there trying to displace that water off the racing line, then there's a chance towards the end we could see some quicker lap times. Only 10 drivers out on track though, so this should be pretty interesting. Get ready, because we're about to see these drivers here who have probably set up their cars for dry running try and get these cars around here in intermediate conditions.
Yeah, this would work a lot better in the typical league racing short qualifying one session of 18-minute format with clearing the track of the water, but it should still work here as, Jonas getting a little bit of a slide on there through turn 12. Thankfully kept the car in shape. And we're going to have everyone now slowing down through the final sector. That does not remove the water that much. If you go through the final section of corners that slowly, that does not help. But White Fountain is the first one to start his lap. Through turn 1 he goes. I have to say, that's also a pretty good-looking livery. Reminds me a little bit of the, what's it called, the W Series. With the yellow and the purple.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, he added a little bit of red to it, a little bit of an accent red color. But the yellow and the purple in that combination, especially that shade of yellow, really reminds me of the W Series. So, shout out to them as well. They're holding like some kind of race. Everyone's holding races these days. Sim races, obviously. Everyone's getting into that foray, and I feel like, you know, sim racing has been on the up and up, thankfully, in part due to this situation around COVID-19, which, I mean, it's a bad reason, but it's still good for sim racing, you know?
Yeah, and it's given sim racing a huge platform as well, and we're all enjoying racing every single day as well, it seems. Every single hour there's a race going on, and we're glad you're watching this one here, the One Hub Racing Season 15 charity race event here for the Mental Health Foundation. Here comes White Fountain towards the line to set the first qualifying time of the session, and there's a 1:22 flat there. Very rare you get to see a flat lap time like that. Scorpion 23.1 there and puts him into second place. Let's see, Chapelele now 21.1 going across the line there. You can see some of the drivers here invalidating their first run. Ashbest sliding his way through the final corner, and as he heads towards the line goes P4, 122.3. We've got Olbrook there who invalidated his lap time. So too did Owen. Vaporian is invalidated this lap. Westy's gone up to P2 now with a 21.7. Hamilton, let's see, he's then going through in towards turn 2. So far, first round of laps, and they're only going to get a couple. Chapelele is on top, 121.1.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was expecting the pole time in these conditions to end up. I thought maybe someone's going to be able to dip into the 120s, and I'm still fairly confident that someone's going to be able to do that, but just barely going to be able to get into the 120s. 120.9, 120.8. I don't think it's going to get that much quicker, so I would say at this point Chapelele has probably already secured himself, I would say, at least a spot in the top 3.
Could be. Definitely. But yeah, we've still got those 4 drivers there yet to set a lap time. So anything goes, really. Here we go then for the second round of laps, as we now make our way towards the line. I think that was Scorpion improving his time to a 22.8. Keeps him, though, in 6th place. Olbrook now goes to P5, 22.1. Can Owen set a lap time on the board this time around? He's got a car ahead of him as well. Owen goes P3 then, 21.7. But as you can see, they're still going on, lap after lap, as he invalidates the first corner there. Hamilton now goes up to P5, 121.956. Owen has invalidated his next lap going through turn 1. So this is his chance now to try and just get himself some space out on track, try and keep the tyres at a good and optimal temperature, as Chapelele, 121.1, has gone purple through Sector 1.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if anyone, considering his first run, his first lap, he used the previous lap as a bit of a cool-down lap, which might not be the dumbest call here, might be a really, really clever call, in fact, as, you know, it helps you regain your battery, recharge your battery. It helps you cool down the tires a little bit, and you're still pushing away the water from the racing line. So purple sector 2 as well, 3.5 tenths. My goodness, he's on an absolute run here. This could easily get him into the 120s. Right now he's on pace for pretty much a 120.7. Let's see where it ends up. Final sector, 2 corners. Unfortunately, the drag strip here on the outside of the suit curve isn't exactly the ice rink that we know, but yeah, it is a 120.7. for Chapelele. That's honestly, I'm willing to call it right now. That's pole position for Chapelele, not just provisional. I think no one's going to be able to beat that time.
The crowd went mental there as Chapelele set that lap time. 20.7. Westy comes across the line, 21.6 there. And Chapelele in front of his home fans here, they were loving that one.
Yeah, who would argue with them? That was an absolutely fantastic lap. 20.7. Again, usually when I write down and research my expectations for a pole time in different conditions and on different tires, etc., I usually give myself a 2/10 window up and down. So 2/10 better, 2/10 worse from what I would expect to be the pole time. And the pole time I expected was a 120.9. So, now, 2/10 up, 2/10 down. Chapelele is just in the window that I give myself, but he's almost breaking out of that. He's almost into the 120.6s.
And of course, what's important about these intermediate and tricky conditions is you want to be the last car across the line, as Scorpion now makes his way towards the start-finish line, moves up to 8th place with a 122.2, improved by 0.6 of a second there. So you can see, going on those tyres and keep running them this whole time, and you will get some rewards there. As it's almost as if like the intermediate tyres don't really wear off in terms of delta, but the fact that they help to improve the track condition, and that's where the performance comes in. These intermediate tyres are great at dispersing sort of tricky patches of water on the track and give you good overall grip in these tricky conditions. But when you start to see wet patches on the track, as in, you know, bits of water, actual, you know, sitting on the track, standing water is what I meant, you start to need the wet tyres, because these tyres here have a huge risk of aquaplaning if it rains too heavily, and you do not want to be aquaplaning at a track like this. We saw it in the 2019 real life Grand Prix. It's not a tyre you want to be on. In fact, the full wets in those conditions were struggling, let alone the intermediates.
Yeah, I mean, in part it was helped by the drag strip, as I mentioned it before, around the exit of the final two corners, which was, I think, used just before the German Grand Prix for some drag races. And so the rubber that those drag cars laid down made it even trickier for the F1 cars in the wet. It turned it into an ice rink, really. And apart from that, but yeah, you still have some spots on this track where especially you really don't want aquaplaning. Turn 6 is the first one that comes to mind, really. You approach that corner with over 300 kilometers an hour and you break down to 80, 70. It's a really slow corner, the hairpin, and you don't want to slide straight on. Yes, there is runoff area, but A, it ruins your time, and B, it might ruin your qualifying or your race.
Well, you can see there Owen now going on to a flying lap here with just over 2 minutes of Q3 to go. Chapelele on provisional pole position, 120.7. Westy in second place there with Owen third, Sam fourth, Hamilton in fifth, White Fountain sixth, Albrecht in seventh, Scorpion eighth, Vaporian in ninth, and Ashbest rounds out this top 10 shootout for now. But there's two cars in the pits there. They've got to get a move on because, of course, they've got to get their outlap in. And if they're not careful, the outlap could use up a little bit of battery as they try and get to the line. I think they've just about made it.
Yeah, I think they should be fine. Usually, as you can see, a lap around here takes you around a minute and 20, minute and 22, minute and 23, and outlap maybe a minute and 24, 25. So they should both be fine. And Chapelele doesn't feel safe. That's the interesting thing. He doesn't feel all too safe, even though he's 9/10 almost ahead of Westy. He's still out there for another run, just to make sure that he keeps that pole position and doesn't lose it to someone else.
Here comes Owen then around the final corner, and Hamilton has retired from the session. He'll finish no higher than P5. Owen comes across the line, and obviously he backed out on that lap. He's now got to go for it on this lap alone. Ashbest comes across the line, 21.7, puts himself now from 10th on the grid up to third place on that second row, and we're now into crunch time. So let's have a look and see how this is all going to play.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting now. This is, you said a crunch time right here. As Chapelele starts his lap with around 23 seconds left. Scorpion with 21, so they all made it. Apart from, obviously, Yasso Hamilton, who has retired from the session already. And no one has invalidated their lap, apart from Sam. Can Sam make it to the line in time? 8, 7, 6, 5. I don't think he's going to make it. I think Luke kept it very close in qualifying 1, but yeah, Sam is not going to make it, so he will not improve.
Well, actually,
he will. That is a bit weird.
No,
Vaporeon didn't make it.
How strange. No, Sam, I think it made it. So there you go.
Yeah, that's surprising. But yeah, so Sam apparently still made it. Vaporeon remains in P7. Westy improves to a 121.1. At least, you know, socially distances himself from Ash Best in P3 right now, who also comes through the final corner. Oh, a little bit of a slide there on the exit. What can he do? 21.4 does improve, but not by enough. Owen, meanwhile, in P4. Sam is now through the hairpin. Let's see who else is coming. White Fountain through the last 2 corners. Someone ahead of him, Jonas, he invalidated his lap, so no improvement from him. White Fountain moves up to P3, same time as Westy. What is happening? My goodness. Scorpion now through the final corner. And before him, Chapelele. Chapelele does not improve, and Scorpion, 22.287, 700th of a second down. And the last one is Sam, who invalidated this lap as well, so he will not improve either.
Well, there you go then. So your top 10 for this race here tonight for the Mental Health Foundation. It looks like it is going to be Chapelele on pole position here for the charity race with an amazing time of 120.7 in these tricky conditions. Now, a quarter of the job is done. Now it's time for the race, but we'll of course go through the qualifying results for Q3 in these intermediate conditions. It is Chapelele on pole position by just under, 4/10 of a second, with Westy and White Fountain setting exactly the same time. Westy, I think, said it first, so that's why he is on second place on the grid. Ash Best 4th, Owen in 5th with Sam 6th, Hamilton 7th with Vaporeon in 8th, Ulbricht in 9th, and Scorpion rounds out the top 10. So there you have it then. The grids have been decided for tonight's race. We now have 67 laps around the Hockenheim ring. And, well, for the first ever time, you get to sort of say the actual race distance. It's more than 300 kilometres, the race distance here tonight. And if it's a dry start, Austin, which I think we know it is now, then Is there rain on the horizon?
There could very well be. The drivers know at this point. They have the weather forecast, but obviously we want to keep it a little bit exciting for the viewers. And it is a beautiful day here in Germany. The question is for how long, really.
Yeah.
But it could very well change very quickly, but we'll see. Obviously, we have to get through the first lap first. Well, we have to get through the formation lap first and foremost, and then through turn 1, which around this track. I mean, it is a tricky one because obviously it is an almost flat out corner. I mean, you do lift and slightly brake into turn 1 when you go through it, you know, at full speed. Obviously, at the start of the race, it is pretty much a flat out corner, but it doesn't really lend itself to 2 or even 3 wide running.
No, absolutely. That turn 1 is always a tricky one because it's so narrow. And then if you notice going all the way up towards turn 2, it narrows even more. So it's just about 2 cars width with just the smallest amount of margin for error between the 2 sets of tyres. Then it winds again on entry in towards turn 2. But yeah, at certain points on this track, it is not a very wide track at all, especially going in towards turn 2, exit of turn 1. Then you've also got the hairpin, which is much narrower than you realise when you're going onto the apex of it. You've got all that track there on the right hand side, and then the whole runoff on the left hand side, which really you do not want to be putting your wheels on. But you can see the beautiful array of colours on these cars. A question from one of the guys in the chat there, I think it was Gaza, who asked the question. Austin, what is your favourite car livery on the grid now that you've seen them all?
Oh, that's a really good question. For some reason, I'm stuck in TV pod camera, so I can't even see them all apart from, you know, from their own camera. But I have to... Oh, let me quickly look. There's a lot of beautiful cars there. I have to go with... I Let me quickly see and quickly look through. Yeah, I have to go with Dexter in P14. That I mentioned it before in qualifying. I think in Q2 it was. That black and teal combination just does it for me. I really, really like that.
Yeah, it's a really great colour scheme. I have to give a shout out to, well, I might be slightly biased. It is an orange and black car, but Liam's car is a really good one. I have to say that right now. And also, sometimes the simple designs are the best ones as well. I have to say, White Fountain is a very striking livery on the grid. You're not going to miss that car when it's out there, and you're certainly not going to mistake it for another car, that is for sure. One thing we should probably go through is the tyres that everybody is starting on. As you can see, the top 10 have to start on the tyre they qualified on, which for Albrecht and Scorpion are the soft tyres, and for everybody else it's mediums. Then outside of the top 10, Lukey is on softs, Cam, Gaza, Dex, Nick, they're on medium tyres, Jamie, Liam and Jess, they're on soft tyres, Etheridge and Asahina are on the medium tyres. So a very mixed strategy going into this German Grand Prix, and I think the drivers, some of them at least, have seen, their engineers told them what the weather's going to be like, and I can quote one of them, "That's evil." So let's see how this all goes.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's the perfect comment, because obviously we chose the weather, and for a driver to say that's evil, I mean, that's a compliment, really.
I mean, that's the other quarter of the job done. Here's the last half, which is the race here. 67 laps around the Hockenheim ring, and of course we get the 5 red lights that switch on first. They'll go out, and then we have to guess when those clutches will be released. They'll be released any time now. We are underway, and what are the starts like? It's a fantastic start from Asahina right at the back of the grid there as we now make our way and file in towards turn 1 there. Can everybody keep it clean going all the way through? Let's have a look and see. You can see it narrows all the way up towards turn 2. Then it widens again. Shapalele has bolted here. A little bit of contact between Owen and White Fountain there as we make our way through turn 3. There's a little bit of contact in the background. I think that was Dex involved. He went a little bit sideways. I think he was making contact with Liam there, or the other way around. In any case, the two of them made contact. As you can see, we're going side by side all the way down towards the hairpin. There's someone going all the way to the right hand side here as we make our way in towards turn 6 there. It's a very narrow track here. We've got a car around on the inside of the corner as well, and a little bit of a messy hairpin there. Dex has fallen all the way down to 18th place as he tries to make moves up the inside. Vaporeon was involved in that one, I know that much, but there's so much action going on, it's hard to try and keep up with it. Meanwhile, you've got, that is Sam there, going side by side with Hamilton as they make their way in towards turn 12 there, and Jamie's got himself a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. He'll have to serve that at his next pit stop. Cam was found himself around in towards turn 11 there, so he's now all the way down in 19th place. Luke Etheridge, still in this race, is down in 20th place. Vaporeon has actually lost 2 positions going through the chicane there as Shapalele completes one hectic lap here in the One Hub Racing charity event. But at the moment, Shapalele leads from Westy, Ashbest in 3rd, White Fountain in 4th, then it's Owen, Sam, Hamilton, Scorpion and Luke. As we see here, Hamilton thinking about a move up the inside in towards turn 2, but thinks very much against it.
Yeah, really exciting first lap. A lot of changes there. Asahina from last up to 14th. Liam, Jamie also winners at the start, as well as Lukey. He's already up from P11 to P8. And Gazaman now from 13th to 10th. So some drivers really moving up the order, some really down the order. As Luke now in the pits already at the end of lap 1. Cam also lost a lot of positions here, down from 12th to 19th. And Vaporeon as well from P8 all the way down to 15th.
Absolutely, we're seeing here, this is Scorpion trying to chase down Gazaman here as we make our way through turn 11 onwards towards turn 12. That is Scorpion there trying to put Jamie under pressure as we make our way now in towards Zach's curve here. Asahina has now moved up to 14th place on the inside of Vaporeon in towards Zach's curve, and he's now got himself up to 14th place. He said before this race started, he said, well, I've qualified last to first, challenge anybody? Well, he's currently 14th right now with DRS now online.
Yeah, 2 laps in, 3rd lap started. That is when we get the DRS for the first time. First detection point is at the end of the... oh no, it is not. Hold on. First detection point is here at the end of this section. Turn 2, turn 3, turn 4. Detection point right here. Everyone gets DRS. I mean, pretty much everyone. Ash Best didn't, but apart from that, I think everyone's in a train in terms of DRS. Whoa. Maybe there's a couple of spots between.
Hamilton's got it all wrong going in towards turn 6. Left is braking way too late. He was up in 7th place. He's now fallen all the way down to 10th. And now he is going to be under the pressure of Jonas Olbrecht, who goes round the outside at turn 8, up the inside, in towards the next corner here. And has he got that move done? Yes, he has. Hamilton could lose out here going through 11 here. He's just about held on for now. But yeah, he was in a really good position there to try and challenge, but he's made a mistake at turn 6, run way too deep, and has cost him a mountain of positions. He's now fallen to 11th place.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jamie gets the Zax curve completely wrong, goes way too wide. Thankfully, does not pull a Sebastian Vettel and can actually continue with his race, but loses a lot of positions there from P12 down to P15, so 3 positions over the course of a corner and a half, really. And now behind Vaporeon, behind Asahina, behind Liam.
Yeah, Vaporeon looking for a move up the inside in towards turn 2, but he knows he's got DRS later on going through Parabolica and all the way now towards the hairpin. A little bit of a train forming now. We've got Lukey, who's right behind Sam. You've got Gazaman, who's right behind Scorpion here. He could try a move up towards the hairpin here, but thinks against it as we now make our way in towards turn 6 for the 4th time in this race. Asahina then gets yet another position ahead of Vaporeon once again, actually, up towards 13th place, but of course because...
He was defending.
He was defending. All right, there you go then. So he's held on to it, but the reason why I thought he moved up a position.
Vaporeon, meanwhile, tried to do a double move on Asahina into the Mercedes arena, into turn 8. Fakes to the outside, then drops to the inside, but did not have the courage on the brakes to actually send it, and Asahina still remains in P13. I think this might be the best battle we have going on right now. Is look at the top 3, really. They're pulling away from the rest. Chapelele pulling away from everyone. Westy now trying to catch Ash a little bit, but still 8/10 behind, so this is still a little bit of a challenge there. But Vaporeon and Asahina, they're really battling it out, and they're fighting every single corner, every single lap. Really scintillating stuff from the two of them.
Absolutely, and the sun is beaming down on the track. It's a beautiful day here at the Hockenheim Ring. DRS wide open here for the drivers here as Lukey gets away past Sam there, and Sam, without the DRS to defend, really can't do a lot. He has to wait for next time around. Meanwhile, Nick is trying to make his way up the order. Vaporeon once again gets away past Asahina, but can he hold on to it this time? Asahina's going to have the better traction off the hairpin, and he's able to hold on to P13 there. Nick, meanwhile, has got the move done on Jamie Met there in towards the hairpin, and as you can see, Vaporeon and Asahina still battling away, still scrapping away for that 13th place. Meanwhile, further up the order, White Fountain is still on Owen's tail there. The battle for P4, and the battle for the podium now is separated by just 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, they're getting closer and closer. It seems like Chapelele is settling into the race a little bit here. He is lower on the ERS, so maybe that plays a role in this. He's down to pretty much 50%, whereas Ash is still sitting at almost 70%. And using some of that to try and catch back up to the German in front. Westy, meanwhile, he's on almost 90%, almost 100, I was about to say. So he's managing his ERS very, very well. And we will see those 3 come together and form a bunch very, very quickly.
Here's Gazaman then making a move on Scorpion as we make our way now down towards the hairpin. He's got the inside line. Can he get this move done then? He'll hold the apex there as tight as he can, and he has got the move done. Up into 8th place he goes. Hamilton got the move done on Ulbrich there. He now moves in towards the top 10 as someone's doing some grass cutting there on the inside of turn 7. It was Scorpion there who went across the grass. Meanwhile, Asahina is really trying to get past Vaporeon once again as Vaporeon gets the move done. But that was interesting from Asahina. Already the yellow fuel light is coming on for Vaporeon, so he's running very light on fuel.
Yeah, he's low. He's running low on target, but that doesn't have to mean anything. As you can see, the skies are getting darker and darker, so we might be in for some rain here rather shortly. The fuel in the rain, usually you use less because the brake the braking zones get longer as the traction goes down, as the water on track increases. And here we go, we have the first drops of rain already on the track coming down. That was very quick.
That rain just came, didn't it? It was just there now, as Vaporeon now gets a move done on Liam in towards turn 6, and he gets that move done. What they've got to be careful now is when does the braking zone start to increase? When does the track get greasy? And when, if it's going to be when, is the right time to switch onto the intermediate tyres. But for now, it's going to be dry running for now. It's only a drizzle for now. As you can see, anything can happen. The rain caught us out in qualifying in Q2, with it arriving towards the end and giving us 2 minutes to just have a think to ourselves, Austin, about what a great race we're going to have. But now you can see Ash Best is closing in on Chapelele.
The top 3 stay out. Owen comes in. White Fountain stays out. Lukey stays out. Sam stays out. They all stay out apart from Owen. Everyone stays out.
His inters are ready for Owen then. So in he comes. On go the green walled intermediate tyres. And away he goes. So maybe he's expecting something. I'll tell you what, that rain's getting a little bit heavier as every second passes. So maybe he's seen something that other drivers are not going to react to just yet. Is it too early? Or has he got the call right? Oh, Sam's had a big moment there coming through turn 4, and that was a huge loss of traction on the rear end. Just snapped on him in the greasy conditions, and he's lost ground there. Chapelele, meanwhile, going side by side with Ashbest, going through turn 7, onwards now towards turn 8. That is Chapelele's got the inside line there, but there's contact made. Braking zone missed there, and possibly a lockup due to these greasy conditions. Chapelele goes into the side of Ashbest, and that hands Westy the lead. DRS is now disabled, and look at that call from Owen. First one in onto the inters, and already there's a suggestion that the crossover period is now.
Yeah, the question is, how much heavier does this rain get? The inters might not be enough. He might have to come in again. But meanwhile, everyone's going to have to come in now who is not yet on the inters. That means Westy, Ashbest, Chapelele. I'm not going to name everyone. You see it. Everyone all the way down to P14. And look at Owen already making a move on Nick here. Round the outside on the much better intermediate. Yeah, Nick spins around with no grip in the Zach's curve. And Owen getting positions, picking up the positions one by one. That was a great call from Owen.
Absolutely brilliant call from him. He comes around the final corner and now heads towards the start-finish line. Now, how far is this going to put him up the order? We got yellow flags in Sector 1. Now, who is that out there? It is Luke Etheridge there, who's now got front wing damage. And look at that. Owen is now up to P3 with that fantastic call. Yeah,
even overtakes Chapelele here, who... you know, as we saw just a lap ago, had that incident in the Mercedes Arena with Westy and Ashbest as they were fighting for the lead. So he's dropped all the way down to P4. But again, the question is now with everyone in the pits, everyone on inters, how long until we maybe see the full wet?
Well, the rain is there for now. We'll have to wait and see how it all goes down. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. Ashbest going for a move up the inside in towards turn 8 there through 9, 10 and 11. As you see, Etheridge there on the outside. There's a lap on him already on lap 9 of this race, but I think he's just here having a bit of fun. Meanwhile, Gazaman and Liam come together. Gazaman and Liam come together on the exit of turn 6 there, and Hamilton has left the session, and Vaporeon, yeah, caught up in it as well, as they finally ghost and untangle themselves there on the exit of turn 6. That just looked like there, Liam and Gazaman locked wheels, and well, that just signed, sealed it and delivered there. But yeah, Hamilton has left the session for now. I wonder if he's going to be coming back. He did lose it into the wall. He's left the session entirely. Well, that looks like he left by intent rather than by just a disconnect, so hopefully we'll see him back.
Yeah, we can only hope at this point. Meanwhile, Sam and Liam battling it out for P10 there. Liam shoved wide, almost onto the ice rink, and Sam takes the position up into P10 he goes. But you see already the gaps are evolving here. Ashbest, meanwhile, into turn 2 on Westy. I don't think that's... I mean... sorry, that's not turn 2, that's the hairpin. I'm sorry. My goodness. Into the hairpin, gets the position. Ashbest back into the lead. Owen and Chapelele, meanwhile, get ever so close. Gap now down to pretty much 3.5 tenths between the two of them. And Chapelet trying to get back into P3 as he was before the pit stops and after the incident with Ashbest and Westy.
Interesting then, Hamilton's Ghost car has come into the pits and, it's another change onto the intermediate tyres. I thought for a second there that the AI advantage there would go to the wet tyres, but not just yet, because it's still, actually, to be honest with you, the rain's not so bad right now. It's still good enough for intermediate conditions. What you've got to be wary of is standing water on the outsides of the track. If there is standing water there on those outside parts of the track, and it's a sure sign that intermediates are not the tyres you want to be on for that amount of time. But the thing that's difficult is dry to intermediates is an easier crossover period, I think, to tell than inters to wets. Because obviously the difference between the two dry and intermediate tyres is, of course, it's not raining to it's raining. But then you've got to try and judge how heavy the rain is. Meanwhile, Chapelet on the back of Owen there gave him a little luck tap going in towards turn 2. Now side by side as we run towards turn 6, and that is Chapelet. Has he got that move done? Yes, he has before the braking zone, and Chapelet now takes over third place in this race. Nick then in 12th place for now. Vaporeon is into the pits. Now I wonder what this is going to be for. It's for full wet, is it? Yeah, it's full wet
it is
for Vaporeon.
It's also a full front wing, but yeah, he's the first one to go onto the full wet. And you said it's about judging how much it is raining. It's not about is it raining, yes or no. It's about how much is it raining. And also what makes it easier to judge between dry and inters is that you do get the message that the DRS is disabled, as we did earlier, and that usually tells the drivers, okay, now is the moment where the intermediates are the better tyre. If it's just raining a little bit, the DRS will remain enabled, meaning the dries are still better. As soon as it's disabled, that's the very moment on this game that the intermediates have become the better tyre. Between the inters and full wets, you have no such distinction. The DRS is already disabled. It will not be re-enabled again for full wets, obviously. Yeah. And so it's really, really hard to judge. The only one you have, who, I mean, you can't always trust him, but you have to trust him in these situations sometimes, is Jeff, the engineer.
Yeah, that is very true, as you can see there. Etheridge having to get out of the way with those blue flags. Nick, meanwhile, putting the pressure on Liam as we make our way in through turn 1 for the 12th time in this race. Dex is now right on the back of Jamie Met there, and Jamie had a little bit of trouble going through the middle sector there. Obviously, Luke Etheridge, who they're lapping, ghost cars are enabled when you're lapping the car ahead. But he must have just got caught out. It's so much more difficult than you think, actually passing a ghost car. And he ran slightly wide on the exit of turn 12, got into the gravel, and now he's into the clutches of Dex as we make our way now through Parabolica and onwards towards turn 6. He'll move to the right-hand side, and this might be a move made before the braking zone. Jamie is going to try and hold on around the outside as best he can. Dex has got the inside line. Jamie was going to try a little bit of a cutback then as we make our way on towards the exit of turn 6. As you can see, they're still going to run side by side going through turn 7 here. As you can see there, Dex just about leaves the door open, but he's got the move done. And I think in the end, Jamie had to back out of that one as best as he possibly could. As you can see there, I think that was Gaza just making slight contact with Jamie going in towards turn 8 there. Meanwhile, Nick did get a move past on Liam. I don't know if you saw that one, Badger, but well, I didn't. I certainly didn't.
Yeah, I deny that. I was looking at Dex, Jamie, and Gaza there, and yeah, going through turn 7 side by side may work in the dry. It does not work so much in the rain, and I think they both found out really, but more to Jamie's detriment, as all the drivers are still out on the inters. I think they're willing to sit this one out on the intermediates and you know, just wait for when, you know, maybe it's coming back to dry conditions again, if it ever will. I'm a bit surprised because I thought we were going to see some full wet running here, and it seems like the weather is still getting more and more rain, still heavier rain. But most of these drivers, they just they stay out, even though you only lose 17 seconds on a pit stop. So you don't lose that much time because the pit lane is to the inside of the track, so you actually run a shorter distance, and B, the pit limiter is set to 80 kilometers an hour or 50 miles an hour. and not as some tracks have it, for example Silverstone, where it is 37 miles an hour, 60 kilometers an hour. Same with France, for example. Obviously, same with Monaco. So it is a little bit faster here. And the pit lane itself is rather short. So all of these factors combined lead to a very, very short pit stop loss. So if you were to go on to the full wets, you wouldn't lose that much time. In fact, Ash Best would only drop to around P6.
That's not too bad, really, is it? We've got yellow flags there in Sector 1. Someone has just been reset back to the track. I'm just trying to work out who that is.
Yeah, really hard to tell here because everyone's a white dot on the mini-map. I wish they would choose the primary color of their multiplayer car. That way we would have at least some kind of an idea. With everyone being white and having a white dot and a white line on the left side, it's really hard to tell.
Meanwhile, this is, I believe this is Albrecht here, trying to get a move done on Liam in towards the hairpin then, as that is Jonas on the inside. You've got Liam there trying to get the traction down. As you can see, the rain is pouring down now. I wonder how long these intermediate tyres are going to be good for in this race.
Owen again into the pits. He was the first one to do so earlier on. He was the pioneer to go onto the inters, the only one when everyone else still stayed out, even though it was raining. And he does it again onto the full wets.
Well, we'll have to see how that all transpires in this race. Meanwhile, Chapelele is right on the back of Westy. You can see how much the conditions have deteriorated already in this race. Let's have a look and see if Chapelele will go for the move. He will, driving down the inside in towards turn 6. Can he try and get the traction on the exit? You can just about see Westy on the exit there. Gets the better traction. They're going to run side by side going through turn 7, or are they? That was close there. Chapelele was being squeezed there by Westy going through turn 7, and Chapelele had no other choice but to go and just get out of the move as quickly as possible. As you can see now, it is terrible conditions. Chapelele gets the move done, and Westy, I think he just pulled to the side there and allowed Chapelele through, so he's now down to 3rd place now.
Yeah, it looked like it. I don't know if Westy just lost control of his car on the exit of turn 11, or whether he just let him by after the move at turn 7 and thought maybe Westy himself thought he did something wrong, as now the top 3 all come into the pits, and I would assume White Fountain and Lukey follow them rather shortly here. As wow, White Fountain struggling through turn 16. My goodness, that had shades of Charles Leclerc at the real life German Grand Prix. Lukey coming in. Owen doesn't have to. He can stay out. He did it one lap earlier once again.
Yes,
and
it did.
Goes... Oh, I'm struggling though, even on these full wets. My goodness.
I think I appreciate Owen's attempt there to try and get the undercut once again, but the only problem is that the wet tyres can be so temperamental. If you pit in a lap too early, they start to overheat, and then you probably at some point in that lap got the tyre temperatures under control and then got the pace there. So it's really round about the same. So he didn't really gain much time, but he didn't lose much time either.
Yeah, I think he did gain a little bit on Westy and Ash Best. Obviously, Chapelele must have had a fantastic pit stop because he's now in the lead. Remember, he came in, overtook Westy between Sector 2 and Sector 3, really on the sector line there, and now he's in the lead. He was behind Ash Best before the pit stop.
I'll tell you what, Jamie has stayed out on a set of intermediate tyres here as he makes her way through turn 4. So he's now being chased down by Nick. This is for P11. So I'm wondering here if this is a strategy from Jamie. Maybe he's not expecting the rain to stick around.
I mean, it could work, depending on what happens with this rain. That could very well work, very well happen. However, you do lose on these intermediates around 2.2 seconds per lap compared to the full wets in these heavy rain conditions. So you need to be aware of that. If the rain sticks around for longer than, let's say, what is that, about 8 laps? Yeah. If the rain sticks around for longer than 8 laps, then a pit stop is actually worth it.
So let's see what Jamie's strategy is going to be. He's got Nick right behind him, though, as they make their way now through turn 12 and then onwards towards Zach's curve there of turn 13. We have So, well, lap 17, so we've still got 41 laps to go of this race, and so much has already happened here. Still no retirements, or, well, we have one kind of retirement. Hamilton is running in a ghost car, not in his car at all at the moment, but you can see the difference in grip going through Sud Curve there. Jamie is struggling to get the traction on there and struggling for overall grip, whereas Nick there can be much more confident on these tyres. You can see there Nick actually getting a 3-second time penalty, now making our way all the way towards turn 2, and you can see there Nick being a little bit hesitant going towards turn 2, but there you can see Jamie overruns the corner, can't slow the car down in time, maybe a hint of aquaplaning there, and Nick says thank you very much, I'll take that position away from you.
Yeah, meanwhile, to shift attention away a little bit from this race, because it is a charity event after all, just 4 minutes ago, we've got a £100 donation from ILRT Lormans, bringing the total now to £325. So, to Lormans, thank you very, very, very much for this very generous donation. £100, 325 in total. My goodness, wow.
Oh, thank you very much, and of course that is why we're here racing tonight, raising money and awareness for the Mental Health Foundation. As we see here, actually Ash Best fallen a little bit behind here, as well, you can see there Westy is closing in 0.8 of a second. Meanwhile, Scorpion is struggling on these wet tyres, and Asahina is keeping him for close company as we make our way in towards turn 2. You've got Jamie now, who's under threat from Ulbricht as they now exit turn 18. But you can see Ulbricht gets the traction down in these really, really treacherous conditions, and he realises there Ulbricht turn 1 is no place for an overtake, at least not yet. In now on the traction, you can see that Ulbricht gets the drive on towards turn 2. He's got to be careful here though, because Jamie here will not be able to stop the car in time. He's actually a little bit better there. I think he's getting used to these conditions and is able to put up a little bit more of a fight, but he gets the move done. Then Asahina, meanwhile, gets the move done on Scorpion on the exit of turn 6, so he's now up to 7th place. He started from 20th, and this has not been an easy race, not by a long shot. To be in P7 right now is a great start for him.
Yeah, it really is. From 20th on the grid now to P7. But I feel like we have to talk about Chapelele. Look at how much he's pulling away from Ash Best and Wesley. They were battling in dry conditions. But I think what Chapelele did is he went more for a wet setup. While Ash and Wesley probably went for like some kind of mixed setup, 50-50. Maybe even more towards the dry. And it really pays dividends now for Chapelele. He's just absolutely pulling away. And maybe it's the setup. Maybe it's just him being very, very skilled in the rain. At which point I think it's not too much to call him an absolute rain god right now. Because the gap he's pulling on his previous competitors, Ash Best and Wesley, is I mean... yeah, former rivals over the course of this race, all of a sudden they're gone, they're away, 4 seconds. It's just absolutely amazing to see.
Absolutely, and make sure you're in the chat there letting us know who you want to win the race. Who are your flags flying for here tonight? Who do you want to see on the top step or the podium in just about 40 laps time? Meanwhile then, we've got Dex, who's trying to put some pressure on Liam ahead of him, but he's also got Gazaman behind. As you can see there, Liam struggling for grip through turn 4. There goes Dex then, through he goes, and of course no DRS here, only to rely on the ERS, and Dex says thank you very much Liam, I'll take that position away from you. Heading now towards turn 6, is there going to be an attempt here from Gazaman in towards turn 6? No, there isn't. Might be on the exit of turn 6. So you can see there 47 kilometers per hour on board there with Gazaman as Liam loses traction again. That was a quick decision that Gaza had to make. He made the right one, and he's got the position now up to P15. A little bit of a lock up there from him, runs into the back of Dex. And to be honest with you, having to react to Liam like that was such quick reactions he needed. A safety car's been deployed.
Safety car. Wow. That came out of absolutely nowhere, but allows the drivers to catch their breath a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, look at the rain now. It's absolutely pelting it down here. I wonder if the safety car's been called for safety reasons.
Yeah, that could very well be the case. My goodness. And meanwhile, Ash Best and Wesley catching back up with Chapelele with the leader. So that brings the field a little bit closer together. I think that is a good thing. We do have 4 lap cars already with Jess, Hamilton, Vaporeon, and Luke.
It is absolutely dreadful out here. Look at the visibility.
You can't even see anything, yeah?
I can see why the safety car's been called here on lap 20 here at the German Grand Prix. I mean, look at this. You can barely see the crowds now when you're just riding on board with the front wing, let alone what the driver can actually see.
Yeah, it's really, really tricky now. And I'm very... I'm not at all surprised to see the safety car in these conditions because... My goodness, this is really difficult. And Jess gets herself a penalty for speeding under the safety car as well. Until the cars catch up to the safety car, or at least on the first lap, as soon as they cross the line usually, they don't have to stick to a delta anymore. But until they reach the finish line, they have to stick to the delta, and once they do, they just have to catch up to the safety car and then remain obviously in their position, as the top 3 have done now, and the rest will catch up as well. Obviously, we won't see too many pit stops. Maybe Jamie should go in at this point.
Yeah, if they've had to deploy the safety car because of the rain, I'm going to say it needs to be Jamie's call to get into the pit lane now. The only problem is you don't want to pit too early under these safety car conditions. Otherwise, there's a real risk you could get lapped depending on where you pit in. But now that the leaders are under the safety car condition, they're actually behind the virtual Bird Mylander. No, Jamie stays out on the intermediate tyres.
I mean, it's a brave call, but it's not. I don't think it's the right call. I really, if I was, I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point Jeff is screaming in his ear, unless he told Jeff to, let's say, to shut it. Jeff is probably screaming in his ear at this point, trying to tell him to come into the pits. Because, I mean, this can't be a pleasant experience. And look at everyone behind him. Dexter, Gaza, Liam, they're trying to get past him. But obviously they can't because of safety car conditions. And they're not allowed to overtake him. But he's so slow in these... I mean, the intermediate struggle at this point. Now he runs wide at the hairpin. Is Dexter allowed to overtake him? I mean, he doesn't. But would he be allowed to? That is a good question, I think.
Well, he wouldn't at all. No,
but he runs wide.
If he's running at racing speed, then he's not allowed to overtake him. As long as Jamie keeps it on the track, then yeah, I mean, you can't overtake him. It is safety car conditions, so he makes his way through now. Really, I mean, I know I say tiptoeing in the rain quite a lot, but this really is taking the biscuit here. Lap 22 of 67 here, and we are under safety car conditions, presumably for this atrocious weather condition we have at the track here today at this moment. I mean, you can see there, I mean, the spray at this safety car speed is something as well. The fact is that there's just not enough visibility here. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up perfectly. Even at the spray going at, what, 140 kilometers per hour, you can barely see the other cars behind. So Jamie finally comes into the pits then from P13 and releases the gaggle of cars behind her to try and catch up to that safety car queue. The thing is, though, how long does the safety car stay out?
Yeah, I think it depends on the conditions, really. Depending on how long they remain like this. I've never seen heavy rain like this. This is monsoon-type rain on this game, really. I've never seen this before. That is absolutely remarkable and treacherous conditions. Jamie now back out on track, 1 minute and 10 behind, as the safety car makes it through the final sector, through the Zax curve. He is approaching, he's going through Parabolica, approaching the hairpin right now. Question is, how many drivers will catch up to the safety car before it is called back in?
Well, I mean, Etheridge is still out there in 20th place. I mean, credit where credit's due. He's still out there, still enjoying himself, I'm sure, but he's still on a set of the intermediate tyres. There's someone we haven't actually mentioned at all in this race so far. Jess is out there, 17th place right now, but it looks like she's a lap down just in this sort of traffic of cars here. So that will have to be something that drivers behind her will have to take into account, that the blue flags will be instantly waved once we go green flag racing once again. I'm assuming we're waiting for the track conditions and the rain to just ease off or just get slightly better before we can go racing again. In any case, though, Chapelele still leads, of course, under these safety car conditions. It is Ash Best in second place, Westy third with Owen in fourth, White Fountain fifth, Lukey in sixth, Asahina in seventh, Scorpion in eighth, Sam in ninth, and Cam is rounding out the top 10. It's Nick 11th, Olbrook's 12th, Dex in 13th, Gaza in 14th, Liam in 15th, Jamie Met in 16th, Jess in 17th, Vaporian in 18th, Hamilton running as a ghost car in 19th place, and then there is Luke Etheridge there running around in 20th place. One of the commentators here, well, he did say that he was going to crash out at 7:02 p.m. He hasn't crashed out once, either in qualifying or in the race, so fair play to him. It was a late call-up today to get him out there, but he accepted the challenge, but he's at the back of the grid right now.
Yeah, really fantastic stuff from him, just continuing going on. Meanwhile, the moment when we should see the safety car message that it comes back into the pits at the end of the lap should happen usually between turn 11 and turn 12. That's where the second sector split line is. And that's usually once the safety car crosses that, that's when the message comes out on that very lap. Obviously, it didn't come out this time, so safety car still staying out. The question is really, what is going to happen for the rest of this race? I mean, how long is this rain going to stay? How long is the safety car going to stay out because of the rain? And, what's going to happen altogether? It's really a big question mark, but I hope that we do get to see some more green flag running.
Well, I'll tell you what, compared to 2-3 laps ago, the visibility has improved and the weather conditions have improved. You can see going down the main straight, you can actually see the outlines of the safety car. If we can get a good shot there going towards turn 6 like we've had before, you'll be able to see, yeah, it's much better, the visibility. I wouldn't be surprised if we're back racing this lap.
Yeah, in fact, Jamie has gone back into the pits to go on to another set of intermediates.
Well,
I mean, I think we could take two commentators from this race who are driving in this race, who usually are commentators, and really just show the best and the worst practice. Best practice, I think, is Owen.
I'll tell you what. Well, no, actually, the rain has really eased off now. I wonder if that call from Jamie is the right one. It might be
safety car in this lap.
So safety car's in. The rain has eased off quite some distance as well compared to a few laps ago where it was absolutely monsoon. It's pretty much light rain now in these conditions. So now the drivers will have to make a decision. How long can they go on these wet tyres? And has Jamie met the right call? I wonder here as we make our way now through Zach's curve, and we'll be underway very, very shortly for lap 25 here in Germany for the One Hub Racing charity event, raising money for the Mental Health Foundation. And Liam gets a 5-second penalty for a collision with Gazaman. Meanwhile, then Chapelele will control the field all the way through Sud Curve. Remember, he's allowed to keep a consistent...
Chapelele comes
into the pits.
And Ash as well. Westy stays there. Westy's now the one restarting this race. Owen comes in. White Fountain stays out behind Jess right now.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Goodness. And the one guy who's going to gain a lot of positions from this is Jamie, who's gone into the pits, back on the inters. They all switch onto the inters. Everyone who came into the pits, Chapelele, Ashbest, Owen, Sam. Liam hasn't switched yet. He's still waiting, I think. Oh, he goes on to another set of full wets? Well, that is a questionable... Oh, that is for front wing damage, yeah. So he goes on to another set of full wets. I think he didn't change it in time. He was just going in for the front wing, not realising that the rain has eased off.
Well, look at this then. You can see Asahina trying to battle away with Luki then as we make our way now in towards the right-hander there of turn 7. As you can see there's the ghost car of Jess there who is being lapped. And you can see there that is Scorpion taking to the outfield there as Luki now runs off the track at turn 8 there, going through 9, 10 and 11. I'll tell you what though, this safety car really has spiced up this race because now you've got drivers on intermediate tyres trying to make it work. The restart there from Chapelele to make that that late call, and it was almost the in call that from Ash Best there to actually come into the pit lane.
Yeah, on the very same track as well. I mean, Hockenheim always makes for some great racing. I don't understand why Formula One have taken that race of all the races possible off the calendar, as now everyone comes in except for Jamie, and Asahina stays out as well. But that means Jamie will take second place and effectively the net lead of the race.
That's fantastic call from Jamie there. He's met that call to perfection. And one Austin Smith decided to question that challenge, but the rain really has eased off here as we now head in towards lap 26. And Jamie there, it's just a question of how long can he stay at the top here?
Yeah, I have to hold my hands up for this one. I did not think that was the right call, but hey, in hindsight, Jamie, absolutely fantastic call there. Now effectively leads the race with around 2.8 seconds ahead of Shepalele on the same time, so he doesn't have to pit anymore. At least, you know, if the conditions stay the same. But what an absolutely crazy race so far. And also, I think it needs to be mentioned that obviously this race, as all One Hub races, is run under a mandatory 2-stop. But obviously, I mean, if you look at the stops right now, yeah, everyone's had at least 2 already.
Yeah,
so.
I would say so. Some have had 5 there, as you can see there, White Fountain and Lukey battling in towards turn 8 there. Yeah, Liam, Vaporeon and Hamilton have all had 5 stops in this race, although Hamilton is not in control of his car right now. Only one driver has made 4 stops in this race, quite bizarrely. That was Etheridge there, who's running in 18th place and tried to stick with the intermediates as long as he possibly could, and is now up to 18th place.
Asahina now in the pits. That means Jamie will actually take the lead. The question is for how long, because Shepalele is pretty close to him. In fact, he can see him, and I think the pace difference is just too much with Shepalele obviously being one of the pinnacle drivers and Jamie being a commentator. I don't know how else to put it. I'm sorry, Jamie. If you're watching this back later on, or if you're listening live, I'm very sorry, but I mean, you can see what's happening right here. Shepalele in the Parabolica goes for the overtake. Jamie has really nothing to fight it, and Shepalele takes back the lead. But still, what a great call from Jamie. I mean, he's still in P2, and considering that he qualified in P16, he didn't even make it out of Q1. This is like a Toro Rosso being in second place, effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. It is just what a great strategy call there. We said Owens earlier on in this race on lap 7 to pit in for the intermediate tyres was a great call. I think that's been the best strategic call this race so far for Jamie there. Up from running in 13th place, then pitting in for a set of wet tyres, then pitting in again for a set of inters once he'd caught up to the safety car queue. That then got him up to second place. Just a fantastic call there from Jamie. I wonder now, he's got a load of prestige, pinnacle drivers behind him as well as precision tier drivers. And Jamie has proved himself in the podiums here. He has got podiums there in the past, especially at Brazil. If you've ever watched that video of how passionate he is behind the race car, it's a great video to watch, his podium at Brazil a couple of seasons ago. He's definitely able and capable of fighting those around him. It's just that Shepalele, you can see why he's in one of the top tiers. So too Ash Best, and Owen is trying to close in as well, and we know he knows his way around a track.
Yeah, I was about to say, since you said Jamie now has a lot of pinnacle and precision tier drivers behind him. Yes, and Owen, who, while he's not a league race competitor, at least not in One Hub, only a commentator. He is a commentator for One Hub, but he is a league racer in other leagues, and usually finds himself in one of the top tiers in other leagues as a racer. So, yeah, Owen, even though you might say, oh yeah, he's just a commentator, he's the one, I said it in qualifying, he's the one to look out for the most of all the commentators, because he really has some serious pace. There's a reason that ILRT has taken him in and accepted him as one of their drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have Owen here now on the back of Jamie Met there. You can see Ash Best got the move done through turn 12, as now Owen tries to seek down the JB met there in towards turn 1. I was about to say what car JB was driving, and then I realised it was the multiplayer car, and they're all in the multiplayer car. Yellow flag in sector 3 there. That's down the start-finish straight. Whoever it was is now moving again. Obviously, they're all the white dots there, as Austin said earlier on in this race. There goes Owen then, getting the move done, and he gets away then. Yellow flag, sector 1. Here is Westy there, trying to make a move on Jamie there. In now through Parabolica. Jamie there still trying to put a little bit of a fight, but it's just too much there as Westy now gets the move done. And this might be reminiscent of Marcus Winkelhock at the Nürburgring all the way back in 2007, where he made that excellent call, but of course started to fall down the order. But and in fact, I think that's such an inspired decision by Jamie. People will be talking about that strategic call for years to come now.
Yeah. This is gonna go down as a one-hub classic already. We still have another 37 laps and a bit to go. Oh, sorry, 38 laps and a bit to go. And the thing is, there might still be some strategic calls to be made, because it seems like the sky's starting to open up a little bit. We've gone from heavy rain to light rain now. The question is, will we go any further? Will we go to no rain at all? And the driver's having to make another pit stop and then on to some kind of dry tyre. Yeah. So that could very well be the case. And if it is, we might see another driver coming out of this with another great strategic call. Just, getting the I'm out of words.
Well, meanwhile,
getting the upper hand on everyone else.
Sam
best I can come up with.
Sam has got the move done on Jamie there, going through Parabolica and onwards now towards turn 6. Meanwhile, Westy is having a battle here with Owen for third place in this race. Still light rain around this track, and we're on lap 30 here at the One Hub charity event for Mental Health Foundation. And as you can see, Chapelele leading by 5.9 seconds ahead of Ash Best. Owen third with Westy in fourth. Sam there is in fifth place with Jamie in sixth. White Fountain in seventh with Lukey eighth. Cam in ninth with Asahina rounding out the top 10, but he's closely followed behind by Scorpion in 11th place. Albrecht in 12th. Dex in 13th then. Nick in 14th. Gazaman in 15th. Liam in 16th. Luke Etheridge there running in 17th place. Jess 19th and Vaporeon in 20th place. So still not done, not by a long shot is the way you could describe this race, as Chapelele now builds a 7.2 lead. That did go down to 6.5 seconds, so I think it's now 6.5 across the line. Westy, though, is putting up serious pressure on Owen up ahead as we make our way now on towards turn 2.
Yeah, we're not even halfway through this race. I do think that the second half of this race will be a little bit quicker than the first half. We did have a safety car. We did have monsoon kind conditions here. It was absolutely pouring down. The skies opened up completely, and they just shoveled it down onto the track. And thankfully that has eased off a little bit, or quite significantly in fact, not just a little bit. But yeah, we still have a lot of time left in this race. Usually, in normal league racing, we would come towards the end of the race here. It would be 34 laps instead of 67. But I really like bringing it back to, I would refer to it as old school, because back when I started commentary in 07, 08, well, that's what we used to do. We used to do full qualifying, full race, 100%. And yeah, it brings me back to the old days, and I absolutely love it.
Well, White Fountain here is now on the back of Jamie as we make our way through the final corner and onwards now towards the start finish straight. Lap 32 here out of 67. We're almost at the halfway distance, and so much has happened already. White Fountain getting a little bit loose there on entry in towards turn 1. Has to take to the outside of the track, and I tell you what, the rain has stopped. The rain has stopped around the track.
It's really hard to tell, but yeah, it seems so. It seems so. However, there's still a lot of standing water on the track. The obviously the first patch of maybe drier, and then later on obviously full dry track is going to be the racing line. but that still throws up a lot of spray as Westy makes a pass to Owen and then gets a little tap from Owen, just for good measure.
Yeah,
but yeah, Westy up to P3.
Well, that was a move all the way down towards turn 6 there. Westy got up the inside, got the traction there, and as you say there, Owen slightly ran into the back of Westy ahead of him. White Fountain has got the move done on Jamie, as we saw there. Cam is behind Lukey now as they make their way through turn 12, and yeah, you can see the rain has stopped, but these intermediate tyres are good at clearing water. Lukey runs a little bit deep into Zach's curve there, but that should get him the better exit out of the corner through the chicane and then on towards Sud curve now. Westy only a 10th back, or was a 10th back. That came up on the timings there. That was a bit odd, but now it's back up to 4 seconds. Westy 5/10 ahead of Owen there, with Sam closing in quickly on the battle for this podium.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've seen the last of these two. I don't think we've seen the last of any of these. Shapalele, Ashbest, Westy, Owen, they could fight Sam as well. Let's not forget him. I think they could all challenge for more than just a 5th place, 4th place. I think they could all go up or down the order. And every single, as Owen slides through the hairpin, my goodness. He's absolutely sent it. That was less F1 and more World Rallycross style, really. Never seen a car going that sideways through a hairpin, but there goes Owen. And obviously that lost him quite a significant amount of time there, as he's dropped now over a second off of Westy, 1.2 really. Yellow flag, sector 3. That is in the final corner. That is Vaporeon, I think. Yep, that is Vaporeon indeed. As he goes into the pits now. No damage. Is he going in for dry tyres?
Well, that could be a shout here, but what tyres would he go on to if he pits in for dry tyres? Yeah, we've got lots of people coming into the pits. Westy, Owen and Sam all following each other into the pit. Well, they must think it's time for dry tyres. Let's have a look and see how this all develops. What tyres do they go on to now? Hard tyres for Westy, there you can see. Soft tyres for Owen and Sam.
Yeah. Medium for Vaporeon. That was the first one I looked at, but yeah. Hard for Westy, soft for Owen and Sam. That is certainly range as Westy goes into the wall. Thankfully no damage, but he hits the inside wall on the pit exit on the right side there. And Owen goes past him. I don't know what happened there. Maybe the pit exit, because it's not on the racing line, obviously. You never want to see that. Was still a bit wet, and Westy, I think he lost a bit of control there all on his own. Maybe he got a little touch by Owen from behind, but maybe that's why he spun there. And oh, Sam making Westy run really deep, because he himself ran really deep into the corner. And Sam gets the position. Westy hung out to dry, quite literally, and loses another position out to Sam.
Absolutely. Albrecht here is right on the back of Scorpion as they now make their way in towards turn 12. Shapalele and Ashbest come into the pits. DRS is now enabled, so that's a really good call there to try and come into the pits onto a set of dry tyres. Shapalele onto the set of soft tyres. How about Ashbest, who had to queue there? Oh dear, well that's the problem with multiplayer cars. Sometimes you don't know who your teammate is and who you share the box with. But now Ashbest goes onto a set of soft tyres. Shapalele leaves the pit lane on those soft tyres, still in the lead of this one, as there's a very, very busy pit lane. On go a set of soft tyres there for Lukey. Cam is into the pits. He goes onto a set of soft tyres as well. So Westy really the only one going onto the hard tyres. You got Jamie there and Scorpion on the mediums. Everyone else in the pits looks like they're going for softs.
Yeah, and I have to say I'm a bit surprised by the choice of hard compound tyre. Medium I understand, because with the medium tyre you can last effectively to the end of the race from here on out. With the soft, certainly not. You're going to have to pit again, that's for sure. With the hard, yes, you can last to the end as well, but obviously it's a slower tyre. You can achieve the same thing on the medium, which is faster. So I really don't understand Westy's call there. Jamie, Scorpion, Dexter, I think they've got it right with the medium. I don't know why everyone else went on to the soft. The reason might be, A, they're expecting maybe another period of rain?
Maybe.
Or B, They think that 2 soft stints are quicker because, again, you only lose 17 seconds in the pit lane. 2 soft stints are quicker than a medium stint.
Well, I have to say as well, Shapalele, I think he got the he pitted at the same time, but you can see the how much time Ashbest actually lost in the pit lane, having to stack there, as he's now 10 seconds back on Shapalele. Owen now in 3rd, Sam in 4th, Westy in 5th on those hard tyres. He's now fallen into the clutches of White Fountain as they now make their way through turn 4. You can see how quickly the track has dried here. There goes White Fountain there with some DRS and gets the move done then already as he heads now down towards turn 6. Lukey as well on the inside there of Cam as he now gets the move done with some DRS. He now moves up to 7th place. Albrecht as well got the move done on Scorpion going through turn 4. He's now up to 11th place, but Scorpion there is right behind him with some DRS. Does he think about the move? He's certainly putting a nose up the inside, and Albrecht almost saw him coming there, but in the end didn't have to take any evasive action. As you can see there, riding aboard with Owen, he's just set a purple sector 2, but I imagine everyone's going to be setting purple sectors now.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Everyone, at least on the softs. I would exclude Westy from this, and probably Jamie and Scorpion as well. Maybe Dexter too, and Gazaman. But everyone else, especially everyone on the softs, and no more, because Owen just set a new fastest lap of the race with a 1:15.4. The lap record around here, by the way, has been set in 2004 by Kimi Räikkönen with a 1:13.78. So, as Westy now goes on to the soft, I think a little bit late, but yeah, the hards really weren't the call, and it's probably at this point that the softs actually help him more still to salvage his race than staying on the hards would have, as he was losing positions over and over and over and over again. Now he finds himself just barely ahead of the one hub president almost of Nick. Nick trying to get the overtake done maybe on Westy. No, he's a little bit too far away for that one. But remains in P13 and Westy in P12. And now Westy can try and chase after the guys ahead of him as Shapalele posts a fastest lap with a 1:14.4. You can see how quickly the track evolves. We had 1:15s by Owen last lap. Now we have a 1:14 by Shapalele and Ashbest 1:14.2. Let's see, maybe White Fountain can improve as well. Nope, 1:15.2. But yeah, the times are coming down.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Shapalele 10.6 ahead of Ashbest at the moment. Owen there in 3rd place with Sam right on his tail. In fact, no, Owen is on the tail of Ashbest. That's the way round I meant. Here we go then towards turn 6. Will Owen have a move then? No, he thought about it. The door was open there, and he now tries a little bit of a cutback going through turn 6, but he just didn't get the right line there, and that is Ashbest allowing to get the better traction. And of course, the more these two battle, the more that gap increases to Shapalele ahead.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing. If you look at the big picture, you don't want Shapalele to escape. So if I was Owen, I would just try to somehow signal to Ashbest, I'm not fighting you, I'm not attacking, I'm not trying to get past you. Let's work together here, try to reel in the leader, and then make it a three-way battle for the win.
Well, of course, we still have quite a few laps to go. We're on lap 39 of 67 there. That means we have, I think that's 28 laps to go here at the German Grand Prix. Westy has got away past Jamie then. Into 11th place he goes, and down to 12th Jamie goes. He's on those medium tyres, so he's always going to struggle a bit against these soft tyre runners, just in the quality of rubber that he's got there. And Owen has fallen away from Ashbest there. 7/10 of a second now it is. I wonder if Owen's made a little bit of a mistake out there.
Yeah, I was on board with him, but couldn't really tell anything where he made a mistake. Might be that he's just struggling a bit with the dirty air. Either way, he's still in DRS range, so he should be fine. Where he might struggle a bit is the final sector. Maybe he just doesn't have the top speed. That could also be the case, in which case he should do really well in the final sector. But yeah, you can see he's falling off more. I think it's the fast corners. Yeah, he's almost a second down now. Doesn't have any front wing damage. I was looking at that. That seems perfectly fine. So really a little bit of a mystery there why Owen seems to not be able to hang with Ash Best right now.
Well, absolutely. Now, lap 40 of this Grand Prix. Now, it is 28 laps to go. I got the math slightly wrong there, but there we go. 28 laps to go here in Germany. Chapelele leads the way, 10.8 seconds ahead of Ash Best. Owen in third with Sam fourth. White Fountain in fifth. Lukey in sixth with Cam in seventh. Asahina is in eighth with Albrook ninth. And Westy rounds out the top 10. Scorpion is in 11th place with Jamie Met in 12th. Nick there running in 13th place with Dex in 14th. Gazaman in 15th. Liam in 16th. Luke Etheridge running in 17th there. He was 20th place at one point in this race and almost looking himself like he wanted to be out of it, but now he's running in 17th ahead of Vaporeon and Jess, and he'll be wanting to try and keep this position for as long as possible.
Yeah, great come up from him, great comeback, and he's still a lap down, but the one thing I have to commend everyone here, especially the ones who are a little bit down the order, like Jess, Vaporeon. Hamilton left the lobby, and I don't think he has come back. But Luke, Liam, they continue. They keep on driving, even though I think for them it's probably a pretty boring race, just driving around on their own.
I'd like to contradict you on the boring race category there, but
no, it is not boring for us, but I think it is quite boring for them, with no one around them to fight, to battle with, to somehow gain or lose a position, you know. I'm not saying that the race itself is boring, I'm just saying for them, their race is boring, not the race itself.
Alright, I'll let you have that one. But yeah, fair play to them for sticking in this, because they know there's still a long, long way to go. We have 27 laps to go. Meanwhile, Nick is right on the back of Jamie as we make our way in towards turn one, but Nick realises that's not an overtaking opportunity. And we heard from Nick at the beginning of today, or at least you and I did, Austin, that he's not a huge fan of turn one. He's been trying to put all his efforts focused solely on that corner. We saw him spin off in qualifying, but that was about it, to be honest with you. Now he's got the DRS on Jamie as he now moves in towards Parabolica. Up the inside he will go, and that should be the position there for Jamie. We've got yellow flags in sectors 2 and 3 as Nick gets the move done, runs slightly deep into turn 6 there, but he's got the exit and gets it back moving underway once again. As you can see, Jamie's still on the back of Nick there as we make our way towards turn 8, but yeah, he backs out of it there. He's on the medium tyres, so he's always going to struggle for a little bit more grip there. We've got a car off at the Sachs curve now. I wonder if that's just someone getting out of the way. It is
that could very well be, yeah, indeed then.
He's got to be careful. I was going to say, he's got to be careful because that's Jess right behind him there. That's a battle for 19th as they're also trying to let cars through behind. That could be a chance for Jess to get a move done on Vaporeon. You never know. Use these lapper cars to your advantage.
Yeah, certainly. That is really got a good opportunity to do so. I mean, if anything, you know, there's two opportunities for cars. I mean, two really good opportunities involving lapping. Either if you are lapping a car, then them, you know, letting someone through might help you overtake someone who's directly in front of you, who's being held up a little bit. Or if you're being lapped, then obviously, you know, moving out of the way might allow you, because the guy in front of you took a little bit longer and was a little bit more careful. It allows you to slip through with the overtaking, with the lapping car. So that's what Jess is trying to do here. Didn't pan out so far. But yeah, speaking of Nick, meanwhile, as you mentioned him before, and the battle with Jamie, I've heard from Nick that he told me every commentator who finishes behind him will be fired.
Oh, that's
no.
I
made that up. Yeah, we'll be the only commentators then, and Owen at this point.
Oh,
no,
dear.
but yeah, I made that up. No, it's all fine. But obviously, you know, between all the drivers who aren't usual drivers around here, obviously there's a little bit of internal competition, you know, and Owen. I mean, as I mentioned before, Owen may not league race in one hub, but he's still a league racer in other leagues, and so I think he needs to be a little bit exempt from this. But apart from that, the other ones, Nick, Jamie, I think there's a little bit of a... Again, rivalry would overstate it significantly. But there's a little bit of, you know, friendly banter going on between them. And obviously, you don't want to be the one who gets beaten by the boss who hasn't been league racing on this very game at all. Last time he was league racing was season 13 in the Pinnacle tier, and that was on F1 2018.
So there you go then. Meanwhile, Jess did get the move done on Vaporeon then for 19th place, but Vaporeon wants this move back then. Of course, they'll see each other as real cars there in towards Zach's curve then, and that is Vaporeon off the track as he now has to try and regroup and try and not get another attack on. They were being lapped, the two of them as well, which would have caused a little bit of confusion there. Oh, Westy's off! Westy's off at turn 1, spun it and hit the wall on the inside and is rolling across there. Luckily, the Ghost comes into play as he now spins the car around, and that car's having to avoid him there. But luckily, he did Ghost, but he does rejoin down in 13th place, but with front wing damage.
Yeah, meaning he will most likely have to pit, and the question is now, when does he pit? Because it's only the end plate missing from what I can see. I don't think the wing itself is... Oh, no, oh, never mind. The base of the wing on the right side is still there, but that's about it. The wings, the little winglets above are gone. It's just the base of the wing that's still there. So yeah, I think he's going to have to come in at the end of this lap and then try and make a new set of softs last for 22 laps if necessary. I mean, that's tricky. I mean, they lost around 19 laps, and that's puncture territory at that point. So making him last 22 laps, certainly tricky as he moves out of the way, trying to let everyone by. But yeah, it's really not been Westy's race so far, and which is quite surprising because he was qualifying in P2. He was on the front row. And it's really gone downhill since the rain stopped and the safety car came in. That's really been the moment for him where it has gone downhill. And yeah, I don't want to say that's the conclusion of it because there's still 22 laps remaining, or almost 23 laps, and he can still come back. But it's not going too well as he's now lapped by Chapelele, who just came across the line to start lap 46.
Yeah, there you can see the drivers that are now a lap or more down on the leader. Westy and Liam are a lap down on the leaders. Etheridge, Jess and Vaporeon are 2 laps down on the leader as we see it right now. And of course, there's still quite a few laps to go in this German Grand Prix. There's still plenty of time for action out on the track there. But there you can see the gaps to the leader there. You can see 10.5 between first and second place. And those that are on the lead lap are separated by over 60 seconds. And we've been under normal racing conditions for about 11 laps now. And you can see how far that gap has increased.
Yeah, really stunning to see. The gap between Chapelele and Ashbest, though, remains pretty much the same, 10.4. It was at 11 pretty much when they came out of the pits after finally getting onto the dry tyres.
There's more rain. It's raining again.
Oh, yeah, there are raindrops coming down again. Oh, my goodness.
Well.
Oh, poor Westy. Poor Westy. He should have stayed out, even with that damaged front wing.
They would have been calling on the engineer to ask how long is left. Oh, is there rain on the way? And I'm pretty sure Jeff will be telling them about all of that. But I'm pretty sure some of these drivers will never want to see the rain again. But it's coming back here with 21 laps to go. So now the strategic guys on this track have got to try and decide, will we see another Jamie Masterclass? Will Owen once again be the first one into the pits for a set of new tyres, whatever they may be? Or will someone else take the foot here?
Yeah, it's really about timing, and sometimes you can't really influence that timing. The worst possible scenario is when the crossover point effectively happens as you run up to the Mercedes arena, because, as you come out of the hairpin, sorry, because that's the furthest point away in terms of lap time, as Scorpion is the first one to go onto the Inters. That's the furthest point away from the start-finish line in terms of lap time. So 35 seconds with a lap time of about 1 minute 10, maybe 1 minute 15. 35 to 40 seconds. That's half a lap away from the start-finish line. And so that's the exact halfway point of the track, if you will. And that means if that's the crossover point, well, if you went in before that, as Owen is the first one now of the front runners to actually go in a bit early, and I wonder who's following him. Sam is not, White Fountain is not, Lukey is not. They're all staying out. Cam is not. Yeah, it's really just Owen.
Yellow flags in sector 1. I'm just trying to work out who it could be. As we see Etheridge go out of the pit lane there. There's green flags waving now, so whoever it was has saved face in this coverage then. Owen are now on a set of intermediate tyres. Now this will be interesting to see. You can see there's just a little bit of spray coming off those tyres now. Is that going to be enough to keep these tyres cool?
Right now it's not. I can tell you that much. He's going to have to try and work those tyres very, very carefully as to not overheat them. But yeah, the rain comes down more and more. It's really, I think he was a lap early though. I think if someone comes in now, Chapelele stayed out another lap. Same with Ash. That is quite surprising. So Owen might be very well early here. Sam also stays out. White Fountain, man, they're all keeping it on track for now and not going into the pits for Inters. So they expect. Oh, Lukey going deep. Turn 15 there really is where he was going deep, and also stays out. So Owen, and he's been losing time around this lap. It was about two and a half seconds that he lost to Chapelele. So the Inters aren't there yet, but I think they will be there at some point. But at this point, it is too early. He's been losing time. And yeah, although the softs should not be too well, because obviously they're old softs, 14, 15 laps, as you can see. They've run their course pretty much. I mean, most of these drivers have to pit rather shortly, simply because the softs won't make it that long.
Well, let's have a look and see at the leader then. Yellow flags in sector 3. And that's someone who spun it just in the chicane. As you can see, Chapelele is now into the pits as Ash Best now makes his way through. Now, will he answer the call here? Yes, it looks like it's getting much more slippery out there. So intermediate tyres then, 18 laps in this race.
Yeah, speaking of much more slippery, Sam struggling through the Zax curve and almost went into the gravel. And there we go, DRS disabled, so that's perfect timing for Chapelele, Ash and Sam, really, and everyone who now comes in. White Fountain, Lukey, who's already been on the second half of their lap as that message came out. Cam, Nick, probably the unlucky guy, because I mean, he was pretty much at the halfway point of the lap when that notification came out, so not much he could do. If he had gone in beforehand, he would have been struggling for half a lap. Now he's been struggling for half a lap, and you know, it's really just bad luck as Owen gets past Sam on the pit exit. Oh, but runs a little bit deep into turn 2. Sam takes the position back. They're still side by side. No DRS, remember, now that it has been turned off. And Sam around the outside of turn 4 takes the position now through Parabolica. Owen in the slipstream trying to get that back. Sam covers the inside and going a little bit deep. Is it too deep? No, makes the apex nicely and keeps third place.
Yeah, great stuff from Sam there as he gets the part move done, and up to third place he goes. Meanwhile then, we saw a battle between Vaporeon and Jess there developing as they made their way through Parabolica, and Owen's through again. Sam's made a mistake.
Sam went deep into the Mercedes arena, into turn 8, and left the door completely open for Owen. Misjudged the corner in these conditions, and Owen just says thank you very much, slips back through, takes P3 back from Sam.
Vaporeon had a little bit of a spin there in the chicane just before the final corners, and you can see here this is Dex on Scorpion on the inside of Parabolica as they now make their way onwards towards the hairpin. You can see the blue skies in the distance, but the rain is falling right now. Scorpion still got the inside line on the inside of Dex there going through the corner, and you've got someone off there at turn 3. I wonder if that's Vaporeon again, and no, this time it was Jess who was off at turn 3 and 4 there. So now she rejoins the track then, and both Vaporeon and Jess making a couple of mistakes out there, and it's making it a really close race between the two of them.
Yeah, meanwhile, Sam now trying to overtake Owen into the hairpin. Owen opens up the inside in the Parabolica, but it's all to no avail as Owen sends it to the inside, and Sam with the wonderful cutback there takes back the position. Owen a little bit over aggressive on the brakes, and it costs him, and he stays in P4 after trying to get that position back after the overtake from Sam in the Parabolica.
Yeah, we saw a spin there from, I believe that was Scorpion, going in towards Zach's curve there. Meanwhile, you can see the battle for third place still goes on. Owen trying to chase down Sam once again. He knows he can try and get past him, but it's staying past him. That's the problem. Yellow flag's now in Sector 3, as that's Vaporeon, who's now lost the back end again. And Scorpion is retired in the pit lane and decides to call it a day.
Yeah, really surprising. I don't know what happened to him that he decided that, but that brings us effectively down to 18 runners, as both Scorpion and Hamilton, who left the session but his ghost car still driving around, are effectively now out of the race. We're still 18 runners, and another, what is that now, 15 and a half laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Chapelele still leads then. Owen is trying to battle Sam here for the third place. I'm looking at Asahina versus Albrecht here as they're making their way through turn 1 and on the exit now towards turn 2. And they've been battling for a good portion of this race right now as we now make our way in towards turns 2 and 3. So Chapelele leads from Ashbest in second. Sam opened up a second gap now over Owen, third and fourth. White Fountain in fifth. Lukey sixth. Cam in seventh. Albrecht in eighth. Asahina ninth. As we're running on board with him as we make our way towards that hairpin of turn 6. Will he go for a move down the inside? He certainly thinks about it. Albrecht gives him the room there in towards the hairpin and gets the move done. And we saw there someone, I think that was it's either Vaporeon or Jess there who lost the back end. It was Vaporeon who lost it there in through the hairpin. So these two had to watch it there going through, Asahina and Albrecht. However, they're still battling hard here for 9th place in this race. And the great thing about this charity race is that everybody here is just out here to try and do their best. And these tricky conditions have been some of the worst I've seen, Austin. We've been really, really mean on these drivers, but they've faced it and done really well, all of them.
I mean, you mentioned it before, the comment, I think, who was it? It was Vaporeon himself. Yeah. Vaporeon said, "That's evil." And obviously, I said I take that as a compliment, and I still do. But yeah, it's not easy. I wouldn't want to drive in these conditions. Although, no, I'm going to take that back. I would like to drive in these conditions because I think it's challenging, but I think it's also a lot of fun to try and keep the car under control and try and keep it on track. As you can see, Jess and Vaporeon are really struggling with it, and not just them. There are a lot of drivers who are struggling with it. But I think just the challenge of, finishing, not putting it into the wall, not retiring, and just trying to bring the car home, no matter how slow or how bad. I mean, bad is the wrong word. I'm sorry, I'd take that back. But no matter how slow, how many laps down, it doesn't matter. Just bring the car home. I would consider that to be a victory.
Yeah, especially in these really changeable conditions, that is for sure. As still 19th place. Soon they will overtake the non-finishing car of Scorpion then, who has retired in the pit lane of his own accord. Meanwhile then, we're seeing Albrecht trying to chase down Asahina in through Zach's curve. We've also got A couple of battles on our hand. Watch out for Liam versus Westy, the battle for 14th place here. Okay, Liam is 49 seconds behind Dex, but that is going to be a heated battle for 14th place as they make their way now through turn 1. And the rain has pretty much stayed at that sort of light rain stage. It hasn't got any heavier yet.
Yeah, seems like it's settled down a little bit into this sort of light rain that you know, into. Yeah, there you go. Westy past Liam. They bang wheels, and Liam is back past. I don't know what happened there exactly, but Liam now to the inside. Westy trying the cutback, but Liam hugs the apex fantastically. However, look at that. Westy with a fantastic run. I don't know what Liam did there. Maybe he shifted too quickly or too late. Maybe some kind of gearbox, not gearbox issue, but maybe just wrong operation of the gears.
Yeah, incorrect gear there, I reckon. That could have been the case where he's just lost that ground. But anyway, Westy now up to P14, lap 55 of 67 here. Shapalele still leads in Germany. He's at the hairpin there with Ashbest in second and Sam in third. The podium is spread across there, 27 seconds at this moment in time. But it has been such a hectic race all the way through. We have 13 laps to go, 12 and a bit if you're picky, and the closing stages of this race. And don't forget as well, if you've enjoyed this action, we've enjoyed sharing it with you, Austin. It's just been absolutely amazing from start to finish.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been waiting for the if you're picky from you.
Oh, there you go.
Took you 55 laps.
It did. It did.
But there it was. Meanwhile, it is a charity event. It is a charity race. So if you want to help raise money for a good cause for the Mental Health Foundation, the link is in the chat. If you want more information, go to mentalhealth.org.uk or go to their Twitter @mentalhealth. It's quite a simple Twitter handle. You can't really do anything wrong. And read up on them and make sure you support them. Again, link is in the chat right now.
Absolutely fantastic charity, and if you're just watching along and sharing this moment, that's raising awareness for us. That's absolutely fantastic. Great to have you along with us as we head towards the closing stages of this race. 11 laps to go then. Shapalele still leading now. He's increased that gap to 15 seconds at this moment in time. Sam is in third place with Owen in fourth. He's sort of started to fall back a bit now, 1.6 behind that podium placing. You've got White Fountain 5th, Lukey 6th, Cam in 7th, Asahina in 8th with Albrecht in 9th, and Nick is rounding out the top 10 for now. Jamie in 11th with Gazaman in 12th, Dex in 13th place, Westy 14th, Liam in 15th, Luke Etheridge running in 16th place, and at the halfway mark, Austin, he was a lap down, 20th place, and I think the monsoon saved him to get up to 16th place now.
Yeah, it seems so.
That's Etheridge around there at turn 2. Sorry to cut across you there, but he ran wide and sort of spun up the rear tyres and now rejoins the track. But yeah, just as I was saying that, he was having a good race and managed to recover. That monsoon saved him. Okay, he spun up the rear tyres, but that is Hamilton there that's not currently in control of his car, 17th place there. So Etheridge has a chance to just recuperate there as he makes his way through, and he's got someone behind him there. I think that's it's either Jamie or Nick. It is Nick there. Nick and Jamie running similar liveried cars. One is got a sort of black engine cover on it with a little purple on the rear wing. The other one of Jamie there is pretty much a white base, so that's the difference you can tell between the two of them. I still know the difference between the two cars, and I still got it wrong, so there's not much you can do with that.
Yeah, the one thing I think you can look at that makes it really easy is look at the halo. Jamie's got a black halo, Nick's got a white halo.
Oh, you see, Austin, you've just made that so easy. I've been trying to do that for the last 57 laps to work out who's who. And you've just told me, oh yeah, it's a different coloured halo. Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Sometimes it is that easy. But yeah, Nick has now cleared the traffic, which, to be fair, on the game isn't that much of traffic at all because obviously the cars do ghost. And hold on, there's something. There's something in the chat. That's interesting. Paul McGuinness says, if Owen finishes on the podium, I'll go cycling in my race suit. He's not gonna do it.
Well, if Owen's listening right now, that is one heck of a wager. Well, let's see what happens. Yellow flag in Sector 2 there. I think that's is that Vaporeon? He was involved in something. I think he was just letting cars through behind. He is 19th place at the moment, and I think it was Liam letting him back through. Very bizarre, that one. Anyway, Chapelele's still leading, Ash Best in second, but the wager has been set by Paul McGuinness in the chat there for Owen, a podium, and you can see now from 1.3 seconds to 1.1, he's heard that. He's heard that.
Yeah, that's the kind of laser focus you get as a racer if there's something on the line. There's always a couple things that I always felt like when I was racing that just make you focus more. They make you concentrate more. One, if someone tells you, hey, there's something on the line here. Two, if you suddenly catch up to a car in front, if you all of a sudden see the guy in front of you, that just makes you go even more focused and just, you know, zoning in on the target ahead. And I think the first part, the wager, there's something on the line here, that's what happened to Owen. And he's catching up now to Sam, trying to reel in this black, white, and gold multiplayer car of Sam.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, behind them is the battle between Jamie Met and Gazaman, then making our way through turns 3 and 4 and onwards now towards Parabolica. Vaporeon has got himself a 3-second time penalty as the battle between himself and Jess continues on in this race. Gazaman just a little bit too far behind, is he? You can see he's closing in on Jamie, but yeah, he realises he's too far behind and tucks in back onto the racing line. Lap 59, 9 laps to go here at the German Grand Prix, and Chapelele still leads by 15.6 seconds ahead of Sam, and you can see Jamie Met here still trying to hold off Gazaman for that 11th place, and so much has happened in this race here. It's just incredible to highlight what's happened. I mean, we had dry running up to lap 7, that's when the rain started to fall. Lap 32, we had the safety car deployed because of the treacherous conditions and the lower visibility. The safety car was actually deployed for that. It wasn't deployed for anybody crashing out on circuit. The weather was that bad that the race directors, the virtual race directors I should say, had to deploy the safety car. Then we've had lap 35 where the safety car ended and the lap pretty much died off, or the rain I should say died off. And now we've had the rain come back towards the end. It's been absolutely mental.
Yeah, it really has been, and it also took me 59 laps. I've only just realised that Chapelele and Sam in P1 and P3 are running the exact same livery.
I did wonder that.
Yeah, I think it's for the VRT team. The black, white, and gold are the VRT colours, and so I think they're running the team colours effectively.
Well, that would make sense, I have to admit. Lap 60. 8 laps to go here in this German Grand Prix. The rain is still falling down, but only lightly. I don't really see it getting any heavier than this, and if it does, then drivers are just going to have to try and limp home to the end, depending on when that, if there is any heavy rain, will hit. And that's obviously in the back of their minds as drivers. Obviously, they know how mean we've been with the weather here, Austin. They're probably saying, well, they could be mean again.
I mean, we could, but I think at this point, I think it's going to remain that way until the end. I would be surprised if the weather somehow changes again. But yeah, we still have Sam and Owen fighting for third place here. Let's look a little bit at the penalties, maybe, because that's always... Kieran, I want you to do one thing right now. Open the race director and then look at the tyre chart. That's what we've put these guys through.
Oh, I see. Right, yeah. I could... a
lot of red, yellow, green, and blue.
I could probably do the same effect with the stops here. You can see first to 13th, 5 stops. Westy, 8 stops. Liam, 7 stops. Etheridge, 6 stops. Jess, 5 stops. Vaporeon, 8 stops.
Yep. But yeah, I'm going to look at the penalties. Chapelele has 1, although that was lap, let's see, that was lap 7, so a long time ago. And the question is whether it was a 3 or a 5 second penalty, and I think Oh no, it was a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Okay, so he has 3 seconds, but I mean, that won't matter too much. Ash. Oh, Ash has been really clean. He's got, what is that? 2 warnings. No penalty. Sam has a penalty. 2 penalties. Make that 3. Right there. So that's 9 seconds. Owen has 2. So that's 6 seconds. So right now, Owen is in a net 3rd place.
Well. I have to say, it's still quite a way to go. I mean, the drivers have made it this far at the moment, but anything can happen in Formula 1, and it normally does. I have to say, just looking at the position changes, Asahina, remember, he started from the back of the grid this race. He's currently in 8th place. That's a position gain of 12 places as the best position gainer so far. Westy, meanwhile, is the biggest loser in all this. Lost 12 positions, currently 14th at the moment, but he does have the fastest lap to his name, so he can take that away with him. I don't see these conditions improving, so he has got the fastest lap of this race, a 1:13.5 from Westy.
Yeah, at least it's something. Apart from that, the race has been pretty much cursed for him. And yeah, now a lap down. Not really anything to fight for, it seems. And yeah, really, after qualifying in P2, so much hope, so much promise, and in the end, really nothing to show for. Every race that is that crazy always brings out some good stories and always brings out some bad stories.
Well, at the moment, Jamie is right behind Gazzaman then as we make our way through. Gazzaman got the move done as they were battling through. Meanwhile, Cam has got the move done on Lukey, or has he, out of turn 6? They made a little bit of contact on the exit of turn 6. Cam's got the inside line. Lukey's got the outside line, goes onto the curb, gets himself a 3-second time penalty. Has he got it slowed down enough? Yes, he has. As he's got that 3-second time penalty. Here comes Cam round the outside, going through 11, but can't quite get the traction there and has to stay behind for now. But although Lukey is ahead, he got himself a 3-second time penalty for just getting onto the curb there and having all 4 wheels off the track.
Yeah, I mean, interesting that Cam is pretty much running without any of the fictional sponsors. I think he's taken them out by making them the same color as the base color of the car, using the same green to just erase the sponsors, because usually on every livery you have sponsors, but you can make them disappear like that. And so he's decided to go for a no sponsor look. Maybe he didn't like the fictional sponsors, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can do it. There's nothing saying you can't, as we've got a spin in Sector 3. Let's just have a look at that. It's Vaporian again, who's now lost a chunk of front wing. He spun on lap 1 the last lap. He spun at the final corner this time around. And yeah, he's running very wide there, going through turn 1. He hasn't got much of a front wing on, and in these conditions where you really need a front wing to help you in these middle speed corners, you know, not having one is just not going to be very good for you at all. And he might not want to pit in with 4 laps to go, but it might have to be the case. In fact, he has retired now.
Yeah, I think he's had enough. The question is, how many laps did he complete? I want to check. Because obviously there's the 90% rule, meaning you have to complete 61 laps to be counted. And he completed... he scrolled... 58. So he's just short, so he will count as a DNF.
That's a shame.
61 laps is what you have to complete to count as having finished. Or I think it's 90% or see the checkered flag. So if someone's lapped 7 times, I think they still count if they make it to the checkered flag.
I don't know, actually. I think they'd still be not classified because they didn't complete 90% race distance. I think we're going to have to look up on that rule. But I think...
Well, I don't think we have to, because James is James, my God. It's been a long stream. I'm very, very sorry. Jess is 4 laps down, and that means she should be fine to at least complete 61 laps. In fact, isn't she? I think she's on lap 60 right now.
Yeah, because
is she on lap 59?
Well, if she has 4 laps
she's
down...
on 60. Yeah, she's on 60 right now.
Yeah, because if she's 4 laps down, she'll have completed 63 by the end of the race distance. So he will still be classified under the 90% rule. Gazzaman gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring blue flags, and we could see those penalties bite people coming to the end of this race. But we've got 3 laps to go now. Shapalele still leads from Ashbest 17.7. And I tell you what, Shapalele has kept his head cool there, where it's all been very, very dramatic for Shapalele and for the rest of the grid as well. He's been the coolest cucumber in the box.
Yeah, even though cucumber might not necessarily be a compliment in the world of F1.
All right, let me rethink that then. The coolest something. There you go. That'll do. Fill in the blank. One battle that is on is the battle between Owen and Sam. Now, we've already discussed that Sam could have those penalties, and that might make Owen take that podium spot. But now, Owen is really onto it now. 0.6 of a second behind Sam. He wants to get this done on track.
Yeah, it always feels better from experience if you do get a certain position straight up out on track and not based on penalties or on the green table. It always feels more accomplished. But I've always been the kind of guy that if it happens, it happens, and I'll play it strategically. If I get my 3rd place on penalties, then I'll take a 3rd place on penalties, and if not, hey, then that's the way it is. But it does feel a little bit better to get it straight up out on track, not based on penalties.
Absolutely. And Marley in the chat there saying, someone tell Chapellet this is a charity event, so it should make it interesting and not drive off into the distance.
We could, but no. The drivers should all compete to their best abilities, and we're not going to tell anyone to sandbag. That's not who we are. Drive as best you can. And, if you end up winning, congratulations. Chapelele isn't, past the finish line on the final lap yet. It's looking very likely that he is. But, whoever wins the race, well done, congratulations.
Well, here we go.
That's what racing is about.
Chapelele has started the final lap of this race. We're on the 67th lap here with just over 4 kilometres to go, I think it is, before that checkered flag falls, as Chapelele makes his way now through turns 2, 3 and 4. Meanwhile, Owen is now making his way through Zach's curve and trying to close in on Sam to try and get that podium spot on track. Penalties will decide, though, whether he will be able to inherit that spot or whether Sam is able to keep it. But there you can see Chapelele still in the lead there, going in towards turn 6. Cam is still trying to find a way past Lukey. He stayed on the back of him since Lukey passed him a couple of laps ago, although Lukey did pick up a 3-second time penalty for the move because he ran wide on the exit of 7 and the entrance into turn 8, which meant he got himself that 3-second time penalty. Meanwhile then, Chapelele still making his way through turn 11, onwards now towards turn 12. He's not got long now. He's only got one more sector to end this Grand Prix, which has been absolutely jam-packed with action. Jam-packed with weather as well. It started off clear. We had a monsoon. We had a safety car because the conditions were that bad and the visibility was that poor. It dried up and then it rained again. But Chapelele has kept the coolest head in the shed. He makes his way around the final corner and takes the checkered flag here in Germany. A superb drive from Chapelele in front of his home crowd, and he'll be happy to win such an eventful race. Ashbest then comes around the final 2 corners here. Through Sud Curve he goes to claim 2nd place in this race to take the checkered flag. Middle spot on the podium is not bad, not by a long shot, and he gets that 2nd place there. Meanwhile then, Sam and Owen are going to still battle away to try and get that 3rd place. There you can see Nick there finishing in 10th place, so Albrecht is the last car on the lead lap. Sam will cross the line. Will Owen finish on the podium? Yes, he will. Owen fills that last podium spot with Sam there in 4th place. White Fountain then makes his way now around Sud Curve and gets onto the start finish straight to finish on the lead lap. 5th place there for White Fountain. I think he'll be happy with that one. Lukey making his way, tiptoeing around the final corner and onwards now towards the start finish line. He'll pick up 6th place, or will he? Cam might jump him here as we go. Yes, he does, by quite some margin as well. as Cam now inherits 6th place from Lukey. Asahina then will come across the line. He started in 20th place and finishes in 8th. That's a superb drive from Asahina there.
He might lose. He might lose P8 to Jonas, and indeed he does on penalties. Jonas moves up to P8, but still a really good drive from Asahina from last to 9th.
Absolutely.
Very well done. And staying on the lead lap as well.
Absolutely. I think Westy's just doing donuts across the line here. There we go. He's finally finished. But there is your race winner then here for the One Hub charity event for the Mental Health Foundation. Shapalele wins.
Yeah, and for Shapalele, it's the first time in One Hub that he finds himself on the top step of the podium. He had one podium before last season in the, I think it was the Prestige tier. Not 100% sure right now, but I think it was the Prestige tier where he made his debut on the podium. And this time he's on the top step for the first time, and he's flanked there by the Lithuanian Ash Best and by Isler T. Owen, our fellow commentator, the Northern Irish, and those are the top 3.
Well, here are your results then from the race. It is Shapalele who wins quite an eventful race, and that really is an understatement. Ashbest in 2nd with Owen in 3rd, Sam in 4th with White Fountain in 5th, Cam in 6th with Lukey in 7th, Albrecht 8th, Asahina for 9th from 20th on the grid, and Nick rounds out the top 10. Gazaman in 11th, Jamie in 12th, Dex in 13th, Westy 14th, Liam in 15th, Luke Etheridge finishing in 16th place. He made it to the check flag. He said he was going to crash out on the first race. He didn't. He made it to the checkered flag. Hamilton there as a ghost car got 17th place. Jess in 18th. Vaporeon and Scorpion retired from the race, with Vaporeon retiring about 6 or 7 laps from the end as he felt his day was done. But what a race we had there. Yes, we were in control of the weather, but I don't think either of us could predicted a safety car halfway through the race because of how dreadful the conditions became.
Yeah, I was quite surprised as well. I was not expecting that, and midway through the race, I felt like we broke the game with our weather choices, because I've never seen a safety car simply due to the weather before on this game, and so I was really surprised and still am. But meanwhile, let's take a look at the charity, or the money raised for the Mental Health Foundation. We are now sitting at £330. Someone just... Oh, 343. We're getting more and more. It's going up here now towards the end of the stream. And I think part of it might be due to Jess, because Jess said that she was going to donate depending on her finishing position, and she finished in P18, which I think is I think she said it was a £2 donation, 2 or 5, something like that. It was really small. Obviously, she said top 4 was going to be a £30 donation. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But still, I think that might be her following up on that goal that she set for herself.
Absolutely, and to be fair, everyone who's taken part in that very, very precarious and treacherous race have just well done getting it to the end. I mean, Austin and I did not make that easy. We spent... I'm not kidding you. We spent 2 weeks sort of saying, what should we do? Should we do this or should we do this? Well, actually, that might not be the case. We were still kind of deciding how to set the weather about 15 minutes before the race starts. So that's how close it was. But we finally came to an agreement, and we hope that the drivers were sufficiently challenged. I bet they were. One thing we didn't write in the script there was the safety car halfway through, Austin. I mean, that was just... I don't think I've seen rain like that in this game for quite some time, and especially rain like that to cause a safety car.
Yeah, I haven't either, and I just found finally Jess's pledge, and for P16 to P19 she said she would donate £5. So the supporter list hasn't updated, but we're sitting at £343 right now. So thank you very much to everyone who has donated the the fundraiser will still remain after this stream. So if you're watching this after it was live, you can still donate. It's still there for you to donate to add some money to the total. And yeah, we're sitting right now at £343. I mean, 350 is not too far off. I think we should definitely get there. If not, I mean, maybe 400 as a goal would be nice.
Ooh, setting goals, are we?
Yeah, come on. But I know, for example, that I'm definitely gonna add some to it as well after this stream. There you go, Lukey comes in with £13, and yeah, Jess did actually follow up on a pledge with 5, so that's where those came from. Lukey saying great race and great... Oh, I can't even speak anymore. It's been too long. Great race and great event is what he said. So, guys, again, link is in the chat. Please donate. It is for the Mental Health Foundation. They're trying to, take care of everything regarding mental health, trying to help people who are suffering, especially during these times. It is a fantastic cause, and if you want to know more about them, either go to mentalhealth.org.uk or to their Twitter @mentalhealth. Really, really easy to find.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just want to thank everyone that has donated so far, everyone that's going to donate. And even if you're just watching the stream, maybe you're just getting your support out there for mental health. That's enough for us, for raising awareness. And thank you so much just for raising that awareness. I mean, it is just as simple as that for such a great charity. We really thank you for all your donations, all your watch time, everything like that. Even if you just tune in for 5 minutes, that's enough for me. Me blathering on for 5 minutes is probably what did it, so that's fair enough. That's a fair trade. But yeah, it's been fantastic. I don't think I do many full qualifying and 100% races. I thought going into this, Austin, that our voices would be sounding very raspy, and we'd be sounding very towards the end we'd be getting a little bit groggy, but I think there was just enough action all the way through to keep us alert and on it.
See, you're saying our voices. I told you before, I have experience with this kind of distance. I was never worried. I just, halfway through the stream, I realized I should have done something I used to do when I did these long streams, which is eat before the stream. I did not do that, and I'm incredibly hungry right now. I also did not drink too much. I tried to do that during the stream, but I didn't fill up on my orange juice here on my desk, so that's running low as well. So I'm gonna have to really pretty much raid the kitchen after the stream. But really fantastic stream. Honestly, I wish there was there was a league that maybe OneHub could implement this a 100% tier, because I would definitely be down for that every single week. Again, as I said, I did that before plenty of times. 100% races, full qualifyings, and everything. I've done that before, and I would love to do that every single week.
Yeah, do you know what? That was actually quite a lot of fun. I thought towards the end of it, oh no, what if like everything on me just sort of cuts out? What if my internet goes like halfway through because it's so used to doing 50% races? I did think that for a time, but do you know what? That was such a lot of fun. That time just whizzed by. We started at 7 o'clock. We've been going for a good 2 hours and 45 minutes, and should we have round 2 right now?
I think that's a little bit too much. I mean, I think the longest stint I've ever done doing commentary was about 4 hours, and I don't know how far we are into this one, but I don't think it's been under 2 hours. So I think that's not really a good idea to continue going. Yeah, it's been 2 hours and 42 minutes of stream time. Let's not.
Well, all right. Since you've said it so nicely, but a big thank you to all of the drivers who took part, past and present, admin and commentators, as well for you for watching, and of course to my lovely co-commentator who I got to see once again. It doesn't happen often these days, but Austin, it has been an absolute pleasure.
I could just say that back to you. I've really missed doing 100% races and doing that with you after when was the last time we did commentary together? I think that was last season in another league, which obviously I'm not going to mention, but where we ended last season, and that's been a while. It's been, what, 2 months now, maybe?
Yeah. And in sim racing terms, that's forever. 2 months.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, how long have you been doing sim racing commentary altogether? Like 2.5 years now?
About 2.5 years, yeah.
Yeah. So 2 months is actually quite a long time, and if you put it into perspective.
But yeah, it's great to be selected to commentate for this one. It's an honour. So I'd just like to thank the guys that organised this event for choosing myself and Austin to go into the commentary box. And if normal service resumes next week, then Austin, when we head back and I go One Hub, and just in case Alex doesn't turn up for the Pinnacle tier, I might have a chance. But no, go watch the streams next week, 6:30, and another night of great racing. What can go wrong?
Yeah, we're gonna have 3 tiers again: Podium, Precision, Pinnacle, in that order. It will be the Canadian Grand Prix next week, so a track beloved by drivers, a track beloved by viewers, a track really beloved by everyone.
And beloved by me. It's my favourite.
See? Even Kieran.
Even I like it, yeah.
But I gotta say, I like the track a lot as well. It's a fast-flowing track, very short, very quick, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And we're going to be back with as he said, the regular programming then next week for our 3 Podium, Pinnacle, Podium, Precision, and Pinnacle races.
Absolutely, and hopefully you will join us for those as well. Make sure you do subscribe down to the channel if you haven't donated and you want to. I'm sure the link is in the description below, so give a click to that one and just give what you can. Remember, any donations from £1 upwards, you do get entered into the raffle. Depending on when you're watching that stream, the terms and conditions will apply. If you're watching this, for example, a month from now, that raffle is closed. But there is a chance of winning a One Hub Racing cap, a Ferrari t-shirt, and there's also a chance of winning the F1 2020 game on any platform you like. Just the one game though, on any platform you like. So there's a real incentive to go over there, just donate, give what you can if you can, and if not, just having you with us has been a pleasure in itself. But Austin, we've been speaking for almost 3 hours now. I think we need to give everyone a break.
Yeah, definitely. And I need to grab something to eat and something to drink.
That's fair enough. That's more important. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for all the drivers for participating. And obviously, make sure you tune in next week as normal service will resume. Until then, thank you very much for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley.
And I'm Austin Smith.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.